we go.
You can support this show at patreon.com/ASA podcasting.
The wasteland is a post-apocalyptic mess as the sole survivor wanders out about to see the rest. Nuclear explosion sending out the gamma rays from deep within the core, frozen atomic waves. From deep within the core, frozen atomic waves.
Hello and welcome to the 123rd edition of the Fallout Feed. I am Andrew, joined this evening by Ray. Hi, Ray.
Good evening, Andrew.
Also, Jess. Hi, Jess.
Happy Fastnacht, Andrew.
Oh, God, it's amazing. Favorite holiday ever. And Craig Araya. Hi, Craig.
Hello.
How are we doing this evening, everyone? Welcome to the show. 123rd edition. Is there a Vault 123 somewhere in the series? If I was a good Fallout host, I would have been noticing.
You ask that now.
I think we topped out at like 121, if I remember correctly. 120 or 121.
If I was a good host, I would have done something special for done like the background of each vault as we passed those numbers and everything. But I think we missed the opportunity by now. Oh well. Tonight on the show, feedback episode, we have submissions from Clint, Lee, Eddie, Steve, Will, Jen, and it just so happens falls out again just like this. I remember last time we were doing something with the Overseer, and then all of a sudden Fallout Terminal Velocity happened to serendipitously fall into line, and we got to play the Overseer's Terminal on an Overseer's episode. Well, this week on the show, Craig. Fallout Terminal Velocity. Craig goes over and snaps his fingers, does a little poetry slam with our good friends over there, the Atom Cats. So let's get our best giant mug of coffee ready and get your snapping fingers out. Because that's probably just listening to holotapes, though, isn't it, Craig? You probably didn't read. Did you read some terminals?
It was a long time ago, but there was a terminal that was read.
Oh, great. Sweet. So we will get into a little bit of the Atom Cats with Fallout Terminal Velocity and feedback from the previously listed list of our favorite folks there who sent in feedback for our favorite quest, Back to Basic. Also, Belly of the Beast. Did we get confirmation? Does your high agility help on Back to Basic? Craig, you were saying your high agility character, you couldn't get them to fall off the balance beam if you tried?
I mean, I didn't try very hard, but it just seemed like I couldn't. But then again, it could just be that I had done it a couple times before. So I don't know for sure.
Yeah, I'm not practiced enough. Even though I'd done it a couple of times, I'd fall face first off the damn balance beam every time.
I always practiced a couple times before I actually started hitting the buttons on it.
Craig, that is smart. Why don't I think of things like that?
I don't know. I just didn't want to mess it up.
Do a couple practice runs before you go.
Yeah.
I guess there's no real loss if you fuck it up, but I didn't know that beforehand. What if it was a game-breaking bug if you didn't make it? You know, that Andrew fucked up his game forever.
That would not be good.
Well, if you can't complete it, then you get no ID and you are not going anywhere with the Brotherhood of Steel.
No, and without the Brotherhood, can you finish the game?
Oh yeah,
you can go through the Enclave, right?
Yeah, you could skip straight to the Enclave if you want. As soon as you can kill 3 Deathclaws, you're good to go.
Well, there you go. Level 3, Ray is over there sneak stabbing, ninja. 3 Deathclaw carcasses, right?
That's how I did it.
All right,
I might have been higher than level 3 though.
Ray, you've got I think there's a level of 5, but somehow Ray already has like 12 characters going. Who do you have now? What are you working on?
You know what? I'm still with my sneaky melee. She turned level 76 tonight.
Abby? What was it?
Yeah, Abby Normal. After your song.
It's our song, Ray.
It is now.
So what Fallout have you been playing this week, Ray? Mostly Abby? Abba?
Yeah, mostly Fallout 76 and I've been playing vanilla Skyrim.
Vanilla?
I know it's so weird.
Baffled. What?
Well, so I fired up my new laptop and had to get the game launched in order to be able to hook up the mod organizer to it, and just started playing. And I'm like, huh, let me check this out.
You're like, oh
And
god, this is weird.
it's incredibly weird.
Isn't it so funny that you used to play? Well, I don't know if you ever did. You probably never ever played vanilla completely. Did you ever play the game before mods? You've always been a PC guy,
No.
so
Yeah,
you
no,
probably always had at least access to a few.
yeah, because I didn't even start playing Skyrim until just before the special edition launched. You guys convinced me to grab it.
Took a little arm twisting. I was like, Ray, you're so good at the Fallout roundtable character building stuff. You got to try the Skyrim game, and you're a little bit resistant.
Yeah, but is because I wasn't really into the magic thing. But once I actually started playing with it and realized that you didn't have to do magic, that it started catching me, and then next thing you know, I'm shooting fireballs and
Yeah, of course.
electricity out of my nostrils and stuff.
Oh, Ray, I've never messed with what are the landmines called? The magic version of landmines? What are those things called? Runes? Those
Runes, yeah.
I've finally found the magic of runes. I've never used those before. And with this character I'm running, good time to plug Skyrim Roundtable. Was it recorded last weekend, or are you guys recording this weekend? I forget what
no, it was last Sunday.
All right, recorded last Sunday. So everyone now toss in your feedback if you're playing along. With my character, I rolled an evil character. Is that something, by the way, sidebar, is that something we need to add to the Fallout roundtable character roll eventually? 'Cause I was looking at, it's been a long time since I rolled a Skyrim roundtable character. They've got like that Craig knows all about this way more than I do, but the sort of like the general character 9 squares of good, evil. I don't even know how to describe it, but you know what I mean. Craig knows what I'm talking about.
You know, like lawful good, chaotic good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So they have that addition into the Skyrim roundtable, and I was thinking, well, that actually has had a large effect with how I'm running that character. And is that something that we'd be interested in adding into the Fallout roundtable character role? Like, do we need that?
So, I mean, basically, the only way you can play a an evil character in Fallout 76 is to be an asshole griefer. Because to be evil, you're going to have to go around and destroy everybody's camp and take over their workbenches, and because otherwise there really isn't any way to play the game differently.
That's an interesting take on it. What are the real life implications of playing as such, as dictated by a role on a random character generator? You have no control, so you should feel no actual guilt. This is a character that is rolled for you. Now, what are the real sort of ramifications that can happen as a result of being an asshole in the game for a long time?
Your gamer tag shows up above your character's name, or
Yes.
above your character, and you can never go back from it.
And you just get blocked by a bunch of people? Like, what are the actual bad side effects of this? You get blocked by a bunch of people?
Well, I'm assuming, yeah.
And a target.
We get reported. Is there some way Bethesda could, I don't know, remove your access to the game? Like, will you get punished in some way like that, do you think?
Not if you're playing within the guidelines of the game. I mean, they make you kill people to take workbenches.
And you'd have to be, this would probably have to be a survival mode thing. Speaking of which, we'll get into brand new patch notes. Survival mode just dropped recently, the beta for which I have not stepped into it myself. We'll get into it if other people have, but I assume that would be a survival mode type thing if you did roll that sort of thing, right?
I wouldn't have to. That would definitely step up the game.
All right, so I guess let's go ahead and get into the survival mode stuff then, since I'm already sort of asking about it. Survival mode beta. It's not the full version, I guess. Dropped this week. What is
Yeah, I
the
hope
beta
not.
version? What is the beta version? How is it going to change? What's it going to look like when it goes full launch? Has anybody messed with it yet? Jess, have you messed with beta yet?
No, I haven't been in yet.
I haven't
I've
yet either.
watched a few videos on it, seen a lot of feedback on Reddit, but I haven't actually tried it out myself.
I think Michelle maybe posted some stuff that Gopher had done a couple of videos of. I didn't have time to watch those yet. Ray or Craig, did you hop into survival at all?
Yeah, I did.
What's it like?
It's hard to tell at this point. I mean, this can't possibly be the game. I think it's just because everybody's just going around killing anybody you can find just because because you're trying out the beta.
Yeah, there's a leaderboard saying ding ding ding, these are the 3 you're going for. So
yeah, well, so those are the only people that you can find on the map, but you can go to common locations. Like somebody found me and going through killing ghouls in White Springs. And I was just going to try to run through and get some extra XP and everything.
yeah.
But
I would certainly avoid the common spaces. I would certainly avoid White Springs
so basically you can't really play the game. You can just go around trying to keep yourself from getting killed. So I got shot. It didn't kill me. And so I was able to, before they could reload, because it was somebody with a dragon. Before they could reload, I unleashed a couple of ski sword whacks on them, and they were dead.
What kind of armor are you wearing that a fucking dragon didn't take you down?
Well, but see, that was one of the things about this test that they're doing is that they're trying to stop one-shot kills. And so I mean it knocked the crap out of me. And if they could have followed up with a knife stab, I would have been dead. But instead they stopped to reload, and I was able to come, they had popped around the corner, shot me, and then popped back. I came around and found them. They were in chameleon, but you can still see the shimmer.
Yeah, get their gamer tag. Do you see where the gamer tag floats? They can't. They have to remove that, absolutely, right?
Yeah, no, you don't see that
until
they're dead.
Oh yeah.
Well, it says who attacked you, but yeah. And so so then as soon as that happened, I just boogied, and but they caught up to me. One of the big problems that they're having with this is that so there's only a certain number of places that you can respawn.
Right.
So you can respawn at a train station. You can respawn at a friendly camp, your camp, or Vault 76. And
or
so
a workshop you own too.
Okay, yeah. So what they're running into is people are camping on the spawn points for these train stations, and you have a very
slaughtering people,
very short window of invulnerability, but there's just no way to get away from them before they have a chance to shoot you again. It is kind of interesting to watch though, because so there's a little there's a scroll of notifications in your upper left corner, and so and so killed such and such, and then such and such killed so and so, and so killed such and such, and it just keeps going back and forth between all these players. Now you can keep yourself off of the leaderboard, because the leaderboard is strictly time since your last death. And so, if you start, climbing the ladder, and now you're at number 5, and then number 4, as soon as you're number 3, you're going to show up on the map, jump off a cliff and kill yourself. and then just respawn. And it's handy for me because my camp is on the side of the cliff.
Does hopping off the cliff spare you the loss of aid and or caps?
No, but it prevents you from losing caps because you killed yourself. So they just go back into your into your loot. But your bag is going to be at the bottom of the cliff that you jumped off of.
Does
You just go
leaving
back down.
Does leaving caps at home in your stash prevent you from losing them when you get killed by someone else out in the field?
I'm gonna guess no.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything specific, but junk and aid and caps, they can dip into your stash to throw that in the bag.
Can you even store caps in your stash?
No, you can't.
Okay.
So it was definitely fun. They came back and I almost killed him again, but I was so caught up in the moment that I didn't think to use VATS.
All right, I understand the need to balance stuff and the want to limit the one-shot kills, but there are definitely certain weapons out there where one-shot kills are absolutely appropriate.
And it is still happening some. I mean, that's also one of the other complaints about the mode is that people who have some of those high-level duped two-shot explosive type weapons are still able to get one-shot kills when nobody else can.
Yeah, those like dragons and missile launchers and those grenade launchers. Those are all one-shot kill things, in my opinion. If you drop a fat man on someone's lap, that should kill them in one shot, right?
But it's better for game balance if you have a chance to recover. So I don't blame them for putting a slight limit on it. It's like most battle royale games or deathmatch games, which survival mode's looking a little closer to. You can usually survive more than one hit, just so you have a chance to respond or run.
What if they did organized servers? Like, if you guys ever played Nintendo 64 Bond game.
GoldenEye.
You could play death matches by category. You could hop on server that would be only pistols or only this and that and only slaps. Slaps only. That was my favorite mode. That was so great. Oh, karate chop right in your neck. Gotcha, buddy. No, that was the best. So like that would be fun. That's a good way to get balance on weapons, is that you just give everyone the same damn weapon.
Yeah, or at the very least, group the levels.
Yeah, by tens every 10 levels for each server or something like that. That makes sense to me.
Yeah, because it's it's definitely weighted, but it's not impossible. So my character was at level 70 at the time.
Jesus, Ray, your roundtable character is like level 12 still.
Yeah, it's this thing is a leveling machine right now. So, and so the player that I killed was level 126.
Wow.
So you can definitely do it, but
very impressive.
To make it fair.
He's not quite twice your level, but he's almost twice your level. That's a pretty good takedown.
Yeah, but after level 50, I mean, you keep in mind a lot of it's just scale, because everyone's at level 50, a lot of things are capped. So it's just you had more chance to get better loot. You've been able to optimize your perks. You've been able to improve your power armor if you're using it, stuff like that. But officially, like the actual numbers are going to be about the same, once you're over 50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to sit down and organize. I want to do a respec special. We were talking about that on last time on the show. After level 50, your roundtable character, you are free to, instead of keep getting cards in the assigned categories, to start respecking your special roles if you feel like that. You want to sort of shape your character out a little bit. Now, I want to sit down and take a really good look at all the cards I have, see which ones I want to get rid of. See, I don't even know how it works. When you respec, it's not like going legendary in Skyrim where you lose everything in the whole category? Is it do you trade in one card for a special? Like how does this work? Has anyone done this yet? I don't even know how this happens.
Yeah, so I played around with it a little bit. You you just say I want to move it from intelligence to charisma, and so now you know your cards
Oh,
change
you just
because
moved
you've
the,
got one less point
you
in
moved
that
the
one
special.
and one more in the other.
See, I thought because after level 50 they let you choose. Do you want to pick a card or do you want
Right.
to improve a special? So I thought that maybe you could start catching in combination of cards to earn back a special. So it doesn't work like that. Okay.
No, you're just moving a point from one special to another, and
Yeah.
then redesigning your cards.
In the future, they might do that prestige thing they were talking about, like other games have, where when you're over level 50, you can, do something to respec down. We don't know how that's going to work yet. But that's not out.
Yeah.
One thing I was thinking about, Jess and I were sort of talking on the side. Next season, the roundtable is going to start up here pretty soon. Means we need to start coming up with ideas, and I suggested, let's start doing some of the cool side quests that we haven't gotten around to. But Jess brought up, and I said, let's do the Mistress of Mystery, the Mothman, the caravans. What's it what's a place? Whatever that place is called. Nuka plant, all the fun side sort of stuff. And Jess made the comment, but we've already done those by now. And then I was thinking that brought up the point in my head here. Does Fallout 76, like my initial impression was that Fallout 76 was going to lend itself perfectly to our roundtable project because it would encourage teaming up and crossing of stories and such. But now that Jess brought up that point that we've already done those, does this MMO or online only style of game prevent people from wanting to start a new character? Like people want to have the level 100 characters in the game like this. In Fallout 4 it didn't matter because there's no one else to run around with. It doesn't matter leveling up wise because everything levels to you. It doesn't level up to your team. Does Fallout 76 actually lend itself well to the round table? And will people have a problem next season when I'm like, okay, we're going to Uncanny Caverns, we're starting new characters? Are people going to want to start new characters? Because if I assign stuff like that and they've already run the Mistress of Mystery set of quests, then they will have to sit that set of feedback out. You know what I mean? They would have to start a new character to do that because this game doesn't, you can't do a quick save there and redo the quest. That's what I was saying was one of my big drawbacks of Fallout 76. Fallout 4, I could always do a hard save and I would make a note and then I'd go back and replay the quests before doing the show so I could have like a little fresh experience on my hands of the show. So how do you think this game is going to lend itself to doing future seasons of the Roundtable? Are people just going to keep rocking their characters up to level 300 or are we going to be able to start fresh characters?
I mean, I think there's one way in which it still really lends itself. Well, two ways. I mean, first of all, you can always start a new character with a different set of skills, which is the whole purpose of the round table. It makes you approach the same quest differently, that you've done once or twice. But the big thing is, because it's a live game, there's new seasonal content. So next season of the round table, they'll still be releasing new quests just like they are now. So, you'll have the summer quests you can do that no one will have done. But the question is, do you do them then with your high-level character that you already have, or do you do them with your new round table character?
Yeah. See, we're going to have to open it up and allow multiple characters in a season too, maybe. I mean, I don't care. This is a pretty open and free project anyway, but we'll just have to, I guess sort of play it by ear and do it as a feel. That was also something that was the advantage of Fallout 4 was I had played through everything before we were assigning quests and stuff. A lot of this stuff I'm going into blind. I don't know how the season's going to map out. I don't know what goes where. And especially when we're mapping out like which factions go where in this game, I was like being really careful and be like, okay, but you have to go here first and here and here. And evidently it turns out it doesn't fucking matter. You can do this in any order you want and it doesn't matter who you talk to when you talk to them, which is crazy. But so mapping out a season makes it sort of strange. I don't know. We'll see how this affects going to the roundtable in the future. I definitely do want to do at least one more season of Fallout 76. I'm still loving the game. I'm infatuated. When I'm playing video games, it is Fallout 76 is what I'm spending my time with. In the future of the roundtable, though, as we mentioned that, coming up the summer, events like E3 and stuff are going to happen. Bethesda will have some sort of announcements. I'm all hoping for not Stardust. What's it called? Starfield announcement. I'm hoping for something like that. Everyone is, of course, hoping for a big drop for Elder Scrolls 6. That's what everyone is hoping. A nice big actual gameplay trailer.
No.
For that's what everyone's hoping for. I doubt that's going to happen, but
they had a tweet today where they were soliciting questions for their panel at PAX East, and they said, we'll ask any question you want, but if it has anything to do with Elder Scrolls 6, we probably won't answer.
But Starfield?
They didn't say don't ask about Starfield.
Is it possible that would be before Elder Scrolls 6?
Oh, 100%. That's what they said last E3. Yeah, that's their next game.
All right, sounds cool. I'm excited about that game. When are we going to start the Starfield podcast? You got to start it well before it actually drops, and so we can have news and stuff. It doesn't have to be every week, but once a month, just a 20-minute thing about whatever news people dug up.
Let's wait for the first big reveal trailer.
Yeah, we got to start something soon. I mean, not soon, but we got to start something when there's stuff to be said about it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Sounds good. I'm excited about. I'm not a huge sci-fi. I mean, I love sci-fi, but I'm not I don't know a ton about space sci-fi and everything. But it is one of my favorite settings. It is. I really like the background of space, so it's just really fun for me. Star Wars and Alien, both of those series of movies, some of my favorite stuff.
Yeah, I hope Starfield is really grommet and nozzle, hatches and hoses, like that kind of gritty feel, a little bit more Firefly than Star Trek.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. Space junkers instead of clean and something. I'm excited about that. That'll be great. Gosh, lots of feedback to get into. So we should go ahead and head that direction. But before we do, real quick, I'll just ask because I didn't get around to the whole group here. Craig, did you get to play any Fallout this week?
Yes, I was actually playing some earlier.
Well, I was playing with you.
Yeah,
we were
kind of
playing together and kind of playing separate and just running around. It was crazy. I got on at 10 a.m. today and played till around 8 p.m. before I started putting the show together. That was the first time I've ever gotten to do that. It was an amazing lazy day over here at the Myers household. It was a good one. Just got to play video games until whenever I wanted. What were you doing?
Well, I was trying to get my Brotherhood of Steel Knight paint, and I actually got it today.
Oh, tell me about the Brotherhood of Steel Knight paint. I don't know anything about this. What's going on?
Well, it's just the paints that you get from turning in tech documents. So I've been searching all over the place looking for the technical documents and turning them in every chance I get, and it finally dropped for me.
Yeah, I've been doing that, trying to get the last plans for the Under Armour. Get a lot of other junk. I got the Maxon's jacket, but it doesn't look good because it's got an orange flight suit underneath it.
Oh yeah, I got that one today.
Yeah, the bomber jacket.
Yeah.
It's probably got a really bad haircut attached to it too.
But pretty great facial hair. Just saying.
Amazing facial hair and that ass that won't stop for weeks. Am I right, lady? Am I right? No, but okay. So I've been doing that too. Stopping by the bunker over at the not Fort Venture. Is that what it's called?
Camp Venture.
Camp Venture. I've been dropping off documents every once in a while. So you guys are getting plans. I'm generally just getting a few caps and like 30, 45 shells. Like I'm not getting good plans and stuff. What's happening there?
They know that you hate the Brotherhood.
Yeah, because those motherfuckers.
Fair.
They know. They always know. I've got the Enclave Under Armour on already. Maybe they're like, well, fuck you, buddy. We're not going to give you plans for our Under Armour too. Yeah. So I keep going over there and dumping stuff off. Is that how does that quest work? I have a bunch of things in my inventory, but I can't turn in 13 at once. So you can only turn in one. Is it every day?
No, one at a
One
time.
at a time. Yeah.
So don't have more than one in your inventory.
Yeah, because I think it gets rid of all of them that are in your inventory when you finish it.
Oh, Jesus.
Ouch.
Yeah. Well, that's bad. Why would they do that?
They want it to be repeatable, I guess. They want to make sure you're not, you're coming back to do it.
You're hoarding. Yeah. So it's just every time you pick one of them, and they sort of look like a red and blue folder, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sort of a weird stack. And are these the spots you find them? Are these spawn locations, or are they just literally randomly dropped wherever?
Yeah, it's in the general loot inventory when it does the level list for that container that you're opening up.
If it's not a container, what if it's out in the open on top of an object sitting out?
I don't think I've ever seen that.
No, not the technical documents.
Right, yeah, because that would be plans if you see that kind of stuff laying out usually.
Are plans also red and blue and look like the technical documents like that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, tech documents look like the word tech document when you open up a container.
Well, I'm just saying I found a random one just laying by my camp like 20 yards away, and I was like, what the fuck is this? And I could have sworn that it was a tech document.
I've had technical data on the ground near camp too. I don't know if it was dropped by accident, like when you drop it you can't pick it back up. Mm-hmm. But I have seen it lying there, and then I tried to interact with it and it wouldn't let me. So I don't know what it's from.
Interesting. Well, mine allowed me to pick it up, so that's weird. Yeah, anyway, I've been turning this in, and I don't recall any good. Speaking of good plans, let's do a little Fashnacht wrap up. We did an Xbox swap meet, traded some masks, traded some. Well, actually, not masks. Everyone had all the masks. That was not a thing. I wasted so much time. I shouldn't have even picked up the mask. I have fucking 70 Fashnacht masks.
Yeah.
And then the plans are really what people were sort of searching after, because there's more variance in the plans. There's only 5 masks, but there was 12, 15 plans to get, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, little wrap up, Jess. How'd you feel about Fashnacht? I had a good time with it.
I loved it. I know you had a real feeling of loss. So did Jen. So did a lot of our friends. You ran it like what, 75, 80 times about?
Yeah, I can estimate around 80, maybe on the light side, I'll say 75.
Yeah, and I mean, you slept through a few of them, of course, like last show, but you were there. Yeah. Well, I did it probably 15 times.
Okay, not only did my character sleep through them, as in I was at my camp, but I tried server hopping so late a few times. I think I actually fell asleep myself, like in the middle of the quest, like playing tuba for the musician or whatever. And I sat there and literally just played tuba the 15 minutes while everyone was running around doing everything. Yeah, and then you wake up to your server you're not your server, your controller shaking in your hand because someone is being like, "Hey, asshole, wake up! We're not doing this for your benefit, jerk. Get up off your ass and help out. Come on," And I was like, "I deserve that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we'd gotten better at not staying up too late the last couple of weeks, but Fashnacht brought it all back for some of us.
Oh my god, so late. And I just did it to myself again. I'm probably gonna be up late playing again. I just slurp back another cup of coffee right before the show. That's not good for me. I'm gonna be up too late again.
So Fashnacht was great. I loved it. My brother-in-law was up all last week, so I didn't play as much except to show him the game here and there. I did a few parades. He thought it was fun. He might even get it himself. And then over the weekend, like you said, on last Sunday, we did a huge swap meet on the Xbox crew. So we'd been talking about it all Fashnacht. Hey, we got to make this happen. And then we started messaging, and we did. There were probably like seven or eight of us there total. We did it at Pat's camp, dropping plans, filling a garbage can and a couple of bags, swapping loot. Everybody had the masks, like you said, but we got a lot of plans shared, and then we kind of divvied it up. So if anybody in the Xbox group sees Andrew Rye, we both still have extra plans, and he has a million extra masks if you want them.
Yeah, God. What are we gonna do with these masks? Like, is there gonna be a market? Like, should when player vending set starts out, should I go set up my camp up near the scary Halloween costume store up in the northeast corner by the pumpkin house? And there's some scary place. What is that place called? I don't even remember what it's called. A costume shop of some sort. Should I set up camp up there and sell the masks to people who are like new players or just happen to not play that week or missed out on the Fashnacht altogether? Is there going to be a market for these at all, or are these just dead weight in my inventory?
I bet there will be. Is that Freddy Fears you're talking about, or up near the pumpkin house?
Freddy Fears, I believe.
Yeah, Freddy. That sounds right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I bet there will be a market for them. I mean, because there are still new players joining. Don't forget, there are still people joining all the time. There are people who might not have come back for Fashnacht. You only run it once or twice. I know that doesn't seem possible to us, but it's true.
Once or twice, but sacrilege. And I really don't care about the cap side of it. I'll charge a few 10 caps or whatever, a mask or whatever, just to make it worth my while. But I really just want people to have them. I want them to be out and about, and people want them for them to have access. You know what I mean?
Yeah, mix and match them with their outfits. Wear them with their Jackie O outfit. I love that we were trying to find the best one to match your new outfit the other day.
Oh, I don't think I posted a picture of her yet today, Jess. But in my Xbox feed, you could probably see a picture of it. You're totally spot on. Your instincts are correct as always. I should never ever question your advice in the future. I put on the sun hat, aka the nipple hat, aka areola hat. It looks perfect with the Jackie O green. What is it actually called? A vintage coat?
I believe it's the vintage linen coat. Yeah,
vintage linen coat. Yes, it's a very nice sort of like green woolen woven coat, very 60s. I think, looking with the crossed over lapels with buttons and stuff. Very nice, very sharp coat. Something my grandmother would have worn.
Nothing classier than a nipple hat.
Oh, yeah. Well, maybe not the nipple hat, but she the coat. Well, I don't know. She maybe would have worn the nipple hat.
I'm glad you like them together. I thought that'd be a good look.
And it looks great. And doing the Fashnacht face invisible head glitch. And so I just have the fashionable glasses and the nipple hat and the green coat with no face. So it kind of looks like a mannequin wherever it goes. It's like the invisible man or whatever. It's
just like the Invisible
really
Man,
fun.
Actually. Yeah, that's what it reminds me of, because Doom Patrol's on lately. Ron's doing it with the party hat right now. Invisible head, just a floating party hat.
Oh, the party hat. That's a good one to do it with.
Classic.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool. Right on. Guys, well, let's get into some feedback here. First up, we're going in the order of received. Looks like Clint was our first submission here. So let's go ahead and say good day to our good buddy Clint. He will be returning to the show here in a few weeks. He was talking about how fun it is to play with his wife. And I said, well, gosh, that just sounds like something I'd like to hear a little more about. So Clint is coming back on the show and bringing with him. He is inviting Charlene, his wife, is going to come on the show too. So I thought that would be really exciting, really fun to hear Clint and Charlene come together. That was I invited them both. I thought that would be really neat to hear about that dynamic. Because my wife doesn't play the 3D game. She only kind of likes side scroller video games, but I always kind of thought that it'd be fun to do a character play with Tori and run that together, but she doesn't really like that style of Fallout, Skyrim, like 3D style video game. But I thought it'd be interesting to hear about that dynamic of playing with your husband and wife. So we'll bring a married couple on. And Jess, I asked you about you sometimes play with your husband too, and I thought that was really cool. You guys have sometimes exclusive play time together, and I just thought, yeah, that is really awesome. that is just really fun to do. So I thought it'd be cool to bring on a couple and talk about that dynamic. So Clint, we'll have you on in just a couple weeks here. Next week is Steve, the creator of our character generator. So if we have character generator questions for next season, things we want added, anything, you guys brainstorm all this week. Get your emails ready. Ask Steve questions like submit your opinions. Do we want to add sort of like the character role that Craig was talking about, whether that tells you if you're evil or chaotic good or whatnot. So talk about anything or think about as you play this week, what are cool things about Fallout 76 that could be added to the character generator that could be useful there. All right, so let's go ahead and check in with Clint.
Clint from Brisbane again. My feedback for Back to Basic is a little hazy because Gardner did this one fairly early in the story. As part of a build, she was assigned Wade Airport for a workshop. So after securing that one day, then completing the first defence, she went for a wander up the hill behind the airport. She basically stumbled onto Camp McClintock, and after hearing the overseer's holotape, she decided to give it a go. Being fairly fresh out of the vault, Gardner wasn't very adept at firearms, and it took her a frustratingly long time to pass the first shooting gallery test. Time was the main problem, but she got there. But if you ask her how many tries it took, she won't tell you. The interrogation test wasn't too difficult, considering one candidate's father was organising a strike. I mean, really, only commies do that, surely. The obstacle course was a lot of fun, and she did fall off the apparatus a few times, but one can never take the drill sergeant's barking orders seriously when it comes from a robot. The final shooting test was more difficult, but Gardner found it easier to be standing on the roof of the shed, which gave her a clear view of all the attackers. So in the end, Gardner was quite proud of her soldier's certificate, gained when she was quite inexperienced. Okay, now on to the present. In the last episode, Gardner had made her way into the Brotherhood of Steel's offices in Fort Defiance and was now, as far as the computer systems were concerned, a member of the Brotherhood. But there was still one room that was locked from her, and that was Paladin Haggerty's. If she was to find out the necessary information about these scorch beasts, she needed to get into that room. Searching around, Gardner found another terminal upon which was an entry by a senior knight, Wilson, and addressed to any Brotherhood personnel. Paladin Haggerty had gone on a mission called Operation Touchdown, from which no one had returned. The message tasked the reader to be on the recovery team to find the location of Haggerty. There was a radio frequency to follow. Now, from first appearances, it looked like this task was going to take Gardner into a dangerous part of Appalachia, to the east of Fort Defiance. So for this, some help from other former vault dwellers was needed. So she put the call out to her friends in the PC group and soon gathered a crew of experienced fighters. There was Valad, a soldier of great power, and Eddie, strong and dependable. Of the Gearhead clan, Gracie was available and willing. Not as strong as her father, but highly capable. And Octavian brought up the rear, a quiet but strong fighter. It was good to have him along. Gardner tuned into the radio frequency and shortly after found the first transponder on the road to Watoga. It was abandoned with just a few wild dogs in the area to be taken care of. The last transmission was between Knight Johnny Moreno and Fort Defiance, with Moreno reporting things were going okay so far, but there were new coordinates further inside the Cranberry Bog. Gardner synced with that transponder and followed the signal towards the town of Watoga. This was where having such a great team made the difference. Gardner was able to enter the town without being too set upon by the robots that swarmed them. Her team fought them off while she located the next transponder in the town by a crashed vertibird. The final transmission from this one was a lot more frantic. The Brotherhood team was under attack from Scorched coming from everywhere and were in trouble. The voice of Haggerty was heard urging them to fall back into the killing zone. Gardner wasn't having a great time of it right now either, with two Gutsies, a Protectron and an Assaultron all attacking her at once. Thank goodness for power armor. Then Vlad swooped in from above and took them out with superior fire. The other 3 team members were taking on a whole town of angry robots and doing it well. Alpha Zulu 13, if we don't make it, that may be the end zone, came from the speaker, and it went dead. Gardner synced the signal again and headed out of town towards the next beacon. Out in the country, it looked a lot quieter. And that was until Vlad came running up and laughing and waving with 4 monsters following her. They included a Wendigo and 3 charred ghouls. It seemed that Vlad was enjoying the mission in her role of guardian angel and making a game of it. The next location, called Survey Camp Alpha, was a makeshift camp which included a surface-to-air missile launcher and a power armor station. The message from this transponder gave further evidence to the failing of the mission. Moreno wasn't getting through to Fort Defiance, but reported that Alpha Zulu 13 wasn't the end zone, and there were new coordinates at Echo Lima 7. They were carrying on regardless. He also reported there were Bravos all over, which is their lingo for lots of scorch beasts. Scorch beasts indeed. Gardner and the team saw one coming at them and prepared for battle. Their superior firepower and the added assistance of the missile launcher saw its demise fairly quickly. So they set out across country again, came across another crashed vertibird, and soon came to transponder Echo Lima 7 sitting on top of a bunker. It was necessary to fight off 2 more Sierra Bravos and a few Scorch before they could read the transmission. Johnny Moreno was now transmitting to, as far as he knew, no one. But he gave the message, EL7 is gold. Definitely hostiles in there. God help us. The transponder coordinates now pointed to an abandoned mine nearby called the Glass Cavern. Inside, Gardner found trolley tracks leading underground with a few detours due to past cave-ins. They travelled down to where the tunnels opened up into large caverns full of many monsters. Now, Gardner's had a few lucky breaks in her adventures, but this was one of the best. Most of the monsters were already dead. There was very little fighting to do, just a few surviving scorched. There was another vault dweller called Steve Zero in the cave, and during the fighting, he happened to shoot Eddie, by mistake, of course. But Gardner also put a bullet into Steve around the same time, also by mistake. Although a fight could have ensued, all was forgiven, for now. Pretty soon, they again picked up the transponder's beeps as they progressed deeper and deeper and finally came to a great cavern which contained a very live Sierra Bravo. But being inside the cave, it was unable to fly, and the team's effort soon saw it dead. Nearby was the body of Paladin Elizabeth Taggarty beside the transponder. The final message involved Taggarty yelling to Moreno to get it online. He did, but he also noticed that there was equipment that made it look more like a lab. What the hell were they doing here? But Taggarty insisted the mission came first and they must rig the charges. But before they could complete this mission, there was a cry of incoming, incoming, which was suddenly cut off. Moreno said, "If we fail, brothers, find whoever made these things," and he was cut off. Taggarty's apparent final words were, "Ad Victoriam," of course. A quick search of the body and Gardner found what she needed, Taggarty's ID card, which would give her access to that last room in Fort Defiance and the information she needed. Just a little further along, the team found a large service elevator which took them back to the surface, and very soon another fight with another Sierra Bravo. All cleared away, they made their way back to Fort Defiance, where they ran into more trouble. In front of Fort Defiance, there's a large automatic missile launcher, coupled to a sonic generator, which is designed to bring down scorch beasts. It was ready to be fired up. Gardner did so, and pretty soon, not only a scorch beast appeared, but also wave after wave of scorched. Curiously, most of the scorched were wearing remnants of nurses' clothing, so apparently were the former staff and maybe inmates of the asylum. They tried hard to attack the sonic generator, but the crew managed to keep them at bay and keep the missile launcher working until all were defeated. Phew, hard work. Then it was time to go back inside Fort Defiance, where Gardner now had access to Taggarty's terminal, where she could learn much more about the scorch beasts, while the rest of the crew gleefully looted the entire building of every bit of plastic they could find. The final solution entry on Taggarty's terminal read as follows. Every last Bravo needs to be destroyed. Maxon forbade using nukes, but a few years back, we found one of the missile silos and the old security system was formidable. As a last resort, we need to find a way in. Senator Sam Blackwell was on the Nuclear Energy Committee, so he might know something. But no one knows where his bunker is, except maybe Quinn Carter of the Charleston Herald. One way or another, if touchdown fails, the nuclear option may be our only option. Maxon's orders be damned. Well, Operation Touchdown was definitely a failure, so the next item is to find what happened to Sam Blackwell. So stay tuned and we'll see you in the wasteland.
All right, so this area of the world avoided mass nuclear annihilation by our enemies because they're in a, I don't know, non-strategic location or something we should say. But, you know, there's nuke silos, obviously, at least 3 in the general region. So we're going to take this place that wasn't nuked. Just, you know, industrial disasters more than not caused most of the problems that are happening here in this location. So let's just go ahead and add to the trouble by, I don't know, blasting off some fucking nukes. Sounds like a good idea, right? Let's head that direction. What do you guys think?
Well, the nukes go away eventually.
They dissipate. The half
about an hour.
The half-life of radiation in this game is much, much quicker than in real life. All right, so that's where we're headed. We're going to get these nukes ready. We're going to get them charged up. We're going to use these nukes to take out some scorch beasts. And I don't know if the guys who are coming up with this plan have ever played a Fallout game themselves, but they should know you add radiation to monsters and you only get, you know, just a messy disaster out of that. They should know that by now, right?
Yeah, they knew we needed the XP.
and mini nukes work. You know, you're using mini nukes on them all the time, so it's
That's
not
true.
a bad plan.
That's true. You're right. Does anybody, speaking of mini nukes, you had a very good mini nuke farming system that was just
My goodness.
given to you recently. Has anyone actually wielded a Fat Man and played around with mini nukes? Because you had the perfect opportunity to get a huge amount of mini nukes this past week with the Fashnacht event. I still haven't fired one.
No, I hoarded like 11 of them now. You know, I'm probably never going to use them if I get a good I get a good mini nuke gun.
Gosh, yeah, there's like is Merv one of them, or is that missile? That might be a missile launcher.
No, Merv is a mini nuke.
Merv is mini nuke. No, yeah. You get some fun weapons like that. It might be fun just to mess around with the mini nuke. I would never use it as like a strategic weapon in any sort of like just taking over a workshop or that type of battle. You know, like you have to have special circumstances. I think.
Like the Mirelurk Queen. You know.
Yeah, stuff like that. That horde. The Mirelurk Horde event that they run all the time up there in the Toxic Valley. That'd be perfect for that.
I imagine that stat you were talking about a little while ago about damage per pound. Mini nukes probably go really low on that scale.
Do they? Yeah. Okay, so well, let's think about it. You gotta take the weight of the mini nukes. You gotta take the weight of the launcher. You gotta take the damage that it all does together. What is it like? Probably I don't even remember. And I just think in my head for some reason it's in the 300 or 400 ballpark in Fallout 4. I have no idea what it is in this game. Am I way off? What is the damage of a mini nuke? I keep making this reference. Oh, my Deathclaw gauntlet does as much damage as a mini nuke. Like I could be totally fucking wrong. How much damage does a mini nuke do? And 4 at least. Not all at once, everybody. Someone's actually looking it up.
We are.
Yeah, well,
that's
you're gonna know. So one thing to keep in mind so it's maybe week 3 or 4 of survival beta. There is a special nuke launcher as the weapon reward.
Ooh, good point.
So 360.
Hey, good ballpark for me, right?
Yes, very good.
Base damage, yeah. And you know, you can with perks and all that, of course, make that crazy high to go the right direction. So I don't know if we actually got your opinion on this, Ray. We mentioned re-rolling characters and stuff. Of course, you are okay with that. That is what you do. What is your opinion on that? With how it'll affect the roundtable? With because in this style of game, I do think a lot of people will like to play their higher level characters. I think that's why people like Alex aren't doing like play-alongs with new characters because he already had when the roundtable started, he had an almost 200 level character already. If you have that kind of character, you don't want
we
to
could,
start over.
but you could also, if somebody's that high up, you've got most of the cards, and you could do a respec of the character where you take 10 or 12 levels to massage your special points, to change up the way that the character is aligned, and you'll still have you'll have all the cards you need to make the changes to make it work.
How much? Anybody looked at the level up rate? How long do you think it takes Alex as a level 280 whatever now to level up versus a Ray? You said you went from level like I don't know 4 to level 70 in like 2 or 3 weeks basically, right?
Well, it's been 4 weeks
4 weeks
to get to level 76. Actually, 4 weeks and 2 days.
Yeah. I'm always interested in that rate because each level they add a little bit of XP it takes to get you to the next level. By level 275, it's got to take him fucking forever to level up. But I know he still tries to do the dailies.
They still do. He's launching nukes and doing all kinds of XP runs to keep driving that. Otherwise, he wouldn't be as high as he is.
That's very true.
So it's still doable.
Speaking of launching nukes and stuff, I've been looking for a new project. Craig and I were sort of talking in the background. We're thinking about maybe getting some nuke action going this weekend. My roundtable character, of course, can't do that yet because I haven't jumped ahead in the story. But my beta character, I have actually launched a nuke. Alex kind of held my hand and walked me through it. And, I died a few times. He would have to go all the way back to the beginning and walk me back all the way through and like, watch out here. And oh, wait, stay here. Let me go turn off all these turrets so they don't kill you again. It's like, oh, I feel like a little kid. But anyway, I got one nuke under my belt. So I might load up that character and run into some silos. If anybody in the Xbox group wants to get together this weekend, Craig and I were planning on doing that because Craig and I are starting our own business. The Flux Factory. We're going to start selling, aka selling. In our group, we'll just give it away to people. Like I don't know, I had some extra today. Craig, what are you building with your flux? You said you were going to needed a few to collect, and I had just spent last evening and this morning collecting some flux. Ran over to your camp, and I gave you 5 cobalt. What are you using those for?
Oh, I build my rad arch.
Oh, nice! I love the rad arch. Love having my camp. It's really nice.
Yeah, I'm working on that for mine too.
What's your method, Ray? Are you just doing the typical go to White Springs, collect hardened mass?
Yeah, it's always hard because you're killing all these ghouls, and there's 7 or 8 people around, and everybody's snagging all the good stuff as quick as they can. So definitely a challenge.
Yeah, they do snag, and plus, if you don't get a hit in, you don't get the benefits. If the person is not on your team, that's one thing I've started trying to do. If I go there and I see a bunch of people there, I try to team up with a couple of different other people who I normally don't know or whatever, just so when they kill things, I can still pick up the stuff off of the things that they kill. I don't necessarily have to get a hit in. As long as someone on my team does, I can still loot those bodies.
Right.
So I'm trying to team up with a couple of randos every once in a while, and that is typically not my thing. I kind of got. I know, hosting a podcast, you don't think someone with social phobias would do, but I don't like talking to people I don't know at all. And so, like, doing that is kind of meeting up with strangers, kind of weird doing that. But generally, I just be like, give them the no, I don't have a mic symbol, and we just sort of like, I'm just here for your hardened mass, sir. Give me your hardened mass and let us part ways. Thank you. So Craig and I, we're going to start collecting flux. Anybody in the Xbox chat want to launch some nukes? I'll probably launch it with my beta character and then switch over to my roundtable character. I did that last weekend. We launched a nuke at the prison. Has anyone tried that yet? It was chock full of, was it Violet? I believe it was the Violet. There was just a ton. Gosh, we need to drop that Willy Wonka Violet dropping right there. All right. So we're gonna go nuking Xbox group. Let's go.
Nice.
Let's see. Thank you, Clint. He mentioned the Sierra Bravo event on your way into the camp, on your way back. Does that automatically always launch in this sequence of events, or did he just conveniently do that with his character this time right now?
There's typically one that goes with the activating the terminal, but it's hard to walk through that part of the cranberry bog without stirring up several scorched beasts.
Right.
Please, Ray, Sierra Bravos, come on.
Yeah, I'm in the enclave now.
What do they call them? They just call them scorched beasts, I hope.
Oh, or fuzzy little pets.
They call them Junior. All right, Clint, looking forward to having you on the show here in a couple of weeks, man. Thank you for your feedback all season long. It's been great to hear from you. Let's proceed on the show here with Lee. Hi, Lee. Thanks for your feedback, sir.
Greetings, Fallout Feed guys and gals. This is Lee Benjamin with Into the Abyss. Lerner was glad of her experience training for the military at Camp McClintock. Every day, that training had helped to save her life and the lives of others, and would continue to do so while she followed the path that the Appalachian Brotherhood of Steel had taken in their attempt to solve the Sierra Bravo problem. She tracked Paladin Lizzie Taggarty's transponder to outside Watoga, where one of her men, Marino, had not found touchdown, and set up another transponder further along their path. Lerner was only vaguely familiar with all this American football terminology, as soccer had reigned supreme in Vault 76. The next transponder led deep into the heart of the city of Watoga. From her studies in the vault, Lerner knew that Watoga was the shining city of the future, where automation was used to replace all city services to provide the residents with an idyllic existence. When Lerner got into the city, either due to the war itself or how the populace had reacted to it, the city's infrastructure had decided that all humans were hostile intruders, and in an attempt to preserve itself, it was automatically hostile in return. Due to encounters with the many civil service robots of Watoga, she had to leave the area to restock and rest up before considering her next trip into the city. Despite the average household Mr. Handy or Protectron robot appearing to be totally autonomous, Lerner knew that in industrial environments, the workers were often bound together in a local area network for efficiency and security reasons. She imagined that Watoga must have been set up in a similar manner. She speculated that there should be some kind of central control hub for the Watoga civil service robots, so she decided that on her next trip to Watoga, she had to try to find the control hub and a way to repair the system. With a good night's sleep and a short trip to Poseidon Energy where Abby and Clay helped her repair the facility and protect it long enough to get some fresh fusion cores, she had to figure out what to do about Watoga. After returning alone to her camp, Lorna realized that with so many robots in Watoga, she would need some help figuring out how to solve this problem. Breaking the training of her parents somewhat, she decided to activate the long-disused Find a Friend feature of her Pip-Boy and reach out to some of the people that she had known in the vault and who she had found to be helpful in this wasteland. Soon she had contacted the two Sammys, Please and Hopewell, along with Abby and Octavian. Some of them had considered the same problem, and they found out that Sammy Hopewell had already solved this puzzle. Sammy told them that each one of them would have to go through the process to become an authorized citizen. This involved talking to the automated mayor of Watoga to start the process, finding the person, one Scott Turner, who had changed the city's original programming with a virus, and getting another copy of the virus along with his password so that it could be tweaked and uploaded to the city's relay tower on top of the municipal center. Fortunately, Sammy H. had already found these things and confirmed that there were probably enough copies of the virus and password for everyone. After trekking to Turner's home and his former workplace at the nearby Robco Research Center, where, as usual, everything wanted to kill them, everyone had what they needed to go to the relay tower. They worked their way up to the roof of the municipal center and got their first real shock. Atop the building, along with the relay tower, was a large nest. It didn't take long to figure out what had lived there, as the scorch beast was flying around the area and it noticed their arrival. Thankfully, with so many of in their party, they were able to take on the Sierra Bravo and win. Fortunately, Sammy H. was able to tell them to expect several robots to appear at the two robo-conveyors on the roof. As each of them, excepting Sammy H., took their turn at becoming authorized, several robots were delivered to figure out who was messing with the relay tower. The robots were a mix of City Security Force handies and protectrons, and were quite determined to hinder their progress. Again, the size of their group worked in their favor, and after a few battles, they were all able to become authorized. They found that after this ordeal, they could walk around the city without being constantly attacked, even if their Pip-Boys still marked the robots as enemies. This experience had really shown how much difference having a few friends could make in the wasteland. They decided to get back to the task of finding the founder of the Appalachian Brotherhood of Steel, Lizzie Taggarty, whose efforts had stopped the Sierra Bravo attacks for a time. Tracking the next Brotherhood transponder led them deeper into the cranberry bog. As nothing in the wasteland was ever simple, it turned out that there were 5 more transponders to find, each leading deeper and deeper into the bog. In addition to the many hostile creatures that lived there, the bog itself hampered their progress by being crisscrossed with channels about 8 to 10 feet deep, hidden by the waist-high ground cover. If not careful, one could suddenly lose their footing and plummet into one. Once in one of these channels, it was easy to lose track of where you were going, and it sometimes took a while to find a place where you could climb back out to ground level. Thank goodness for the compass on the Pip-Boy. The final transponder was inside the glassed cavern. This was an unpleasant cave system which featured its own Sierra Bravo nest and angry occupant. After the inevitable battle, the group finally found the body of Elizabeth Taggarty, and more importantly, her Brotherhood ID card. Once they traveled back to the Brotherhood Asylum, they found Taggarty's quarters and her collection of holotapes and terminal, which revealed a lot of new information about the Sierra Bravos and her plans to eliminate them. On the holotape called The Nuclear Option, Maxon rejected Taggarty's plan to use nukes to try to end the Sierra Bravos once and for all. Her position was that they were just holding the line and would eventually fail due to attrition. She was Roger Maxon's second in command, and he was talking about opening up the Brotherhood's membership and technology to the world to combat that attrition, as even he recognized that the Brotherhood cannot rebuild the world alone. Taggarty wasn't open to the idea, though, because she bitterly distrusted the other factions in Appalachia. When the satellite link finally failed, she lost contact with the West Coast and Elder Maxon. Additional information that Taggarty collected on the Sierra Bravos included the following. They're reinforced, mobile, and cunning predators. They use echolocation to call in ground reinforcements. They are prolific breeders. Fortunately, they only nest in certain places. Several nests have been found in old mining tunnels, and Loner knew there had been an additional nest atop the Watoga Municipal Center. Taggarty had felt that there must be a main nest or nests that have to be located and destroyed. Not eliminating the Sierra Bravos could be an extinction-level issue for all other life on Earth. Loner learned a lot about the power of friendship during her recent travels and confirmed what the Overseer had said in some of her holotapes. The only way to defeat the scorched virus was for good people to work together. It is my pleasure to tell you Loner's story. I'll see you in the wasteland.
Thank you, Loner. There's a lot of qualities that Lee brings up in his story that really hits home with the scorch virus. The scorch all sort of like communicate to each other, and the whole like we are one thing. And it's almost like they're a colony if you know coral, how coral functions. Like coral is sort of alive, but it's made up of tiny, like hundreds and billions of tiny other little organisms together that themselves might not be alive, but together they are a living thing. It's weird.
I always kind of think of them like the Borg. I mean, I know it's not the best analogy, but the whole hive mind, single consciousness.
That is a giant hole. I was saying space is one of my favorite settings of sci-fi, but that is one giant hole in my sci-fi life is the world of the Borg and Star Trek and everything. The Borg, just from general pop culture, gosh, they are sort of like, are they robots or robot people, androids sort of thing that are all sort of one type of thing? Like, I assume you brought it up because it's that sort of idea, but I don't know much about them.
Yeah, they have a hive mind, and actually they have a queen too. They're the Borg queens that kind of run the colonies, and they're full of nanites. They're essentially, it's kind of, they're basically cyber people, where the meat has been taken over by technology, and they're trying to constantly assimilate and accumulate knowledge and technology, and they do it through a hive consciousness. So even when people are brought into the Borg, they lose their own consciousness; it becomes suppressed. And then, when Borg are born, they do birth them. They keep them, they grow quickly in maturation chambers, and then they're, made part of the Borg.
That's interesting. That actually is a very, very apt comparison, I would say, about the whole like suppressing of your individuality as you're brought into it, and yeah, that sounds pretty accurate. It's a big hole in my pop culture world, but a person who actually loves the Star Trek world is on the show this evening, who might be able to teach me a thing or two. Craig, you went to a Star Trek exhibit today, did you not?
Yeah, that is correct.
Can you tell me a little bit about that? Where did you go? What did you see?
Well, the Children's Museum here in Indianapolis actually had the exhibit.
Yes, one of the world famous Indianapolis Children's Museum. That is one of the things the city of Indianapolis is absolutely known for. One of the landmarks of the city. Of course, first and foremost is probably the Indy 500, I would assume. But not far behind places to go in the city, you'll find on that list is the Indianapolis Children's Museum.
Yes, and everybody was there today, apparently.
Oh, goodness. I'm sorry.
I thought going on a Thursday would be okay, but everybody's on spring break this year.
Oh, spring break. Oh, no.
But yeah, it was really cool. They had they had the captain's chair sitting out front. You could take your picture in it, and they had a bunch of outfits and artifacts and whatnot, like you'd expect to see. And
that's cool.
In an exhibit, you could go into like a green screen thing and beam down to a planet and act out a little scene. My wife and I didn't do that because there was a big long line to do it. But,
oh, that's sweet. No, that's fun.
Yeah, it was a pretty cool little exhibit.
Did they have things from a bunch of the shows, like not just original series?
Yeah, it was from all of it. It was original series. They actually had a Borg exhibit there.
Nice.
But it was a lot of stuff from the new movies as well was there. They had one of the escape pods from the most recent movie.
I forgot about the new movie. I actually like the new movies. I totally forgot about those. I was just like thinking of new movies. Oh, fucking Bender Schnack Humberbatch. Those movies.
Yeah, he was in the second one, yes.
Yeah, what did I called him something today, and I forgot what I called him because they had him next to Ricardo Montalban.
Oh no, that's a tongue tripper right there. Oh gosh, that's danger. Minefield. Watch out. That's hilarious. I like. I don't know. I've seen a lot of different memes of just like the lists of what people call him. It's really funny. But he's my. I don't know. The new I almost said X-Men. God, the Avengers movie coming out pretty soon. I'm not a huge in the world of like comic books and comic book movies, but I do kind of like the Avengers movies. And as far as the standalone ones go, I really like the Doctor Strange movie. It's fucking weird, and the animations are really cool. And the same for I like that movie Inception for the same reason, how they have all those really trippy like building animation sequences and stuff. They're really sort of abstract ideal, like really cool stuff. So I really like the Doctor Strange, and Benedict Cumberbatch is in there, and he has like sort of actually kind of a big role in that third Avengers movie. So I'm hoping I'm hoping he gets to come back, because I think he got snapped out of existence or some shit. So I hope he comes back in the fourth one. I assume he will, because they can't end that on a sour note. But speaking of Star Trek, I used to annoy the hell. I can only assume annoy the hell out of my buddy. I had a friend who's really into Star Trek, and you'll have to tell me if this is correct. Probably early mid '90s was there a series called Deep Space Nine?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was his absolute favorite, and I think that was sort of an unpopular opinion with a lot of true Star Trek fans. Like it was sort of like a series that he kind of took derision from other Star Trek fans for really enjoying for some reason. Like you would think that nerds would know to not make fun of each other because of how much they got made fun of for something. But even within different communities, nerds faction themselves off to make fun of other nerds of other sub factions. It's hilarious. But like he used to get made fun of for like in Deep Space Nine. But I kind of like, not in a mean way, not in a way to humor him or whatever, but I would sit and watch the show with him and sort of like ask questions as I go along. But I had to be annoying because I assume I was asking the same questions every episode, and he got tired of telling me, no, okay, this person is this again. I'm telling you this character's whole fucking backstory again. But I tried to follow along, but that was really the only series of the Star Trek series that I actually tried to get into. And probably by popular opinion is the least likable one.
Oh no, DS9 actually. People at the time were like, "Oh, this is new. We fear change." You know how that goes.
Okay.
But now it's regarded as one of the best by a lot of people.
Oh, is it really? Okay. I always thought the Next Generation is everyone's favorite with that was the one with Jean-Luc Picard, correct? The
Yeah.
What's his name? Captain.
Yeah, Jean-Luc Picard. You got it.
Is that that's not the what was the actor's name?
Patrick Stewart.
Patrick Stewart. Okay. God, for a second there, I was like, wait, I thought is the actor's name?
No, it's Uriel Septim. You should know his name.
Uriel Septim. Is it real? Oh God, you're right. Holy fuck, I forgot about that. He's not in any subsequent Elder Scrolls games, is he?
No, just Oblivion.
Wow, that's really cool. I forgot about that. Yeah, super fun. So any other cool? Did you get to have like a wrinkly forehead and some sort of like 3D picture or anything, Craig? Like those are the not the Borg. I almost said Borg. What are those? Those are Klingons, right?
Yeah.
Those. Okay, this is probably a very stupid comparison, but as someone who does not know the Star Trek universe at all, I always equate Klingons with Wookiees. And as in the Star Wars universe, because it's a race where people like to take the like made up language and try to use it. You know what I mean? Like, but Klingon is actually more spoken, I guess, than Wookiee.
Yeah. They're noisy and they can rip your arm off, but that's where the similarity ends. Because she can Kronos, two different things.
Yeah, but I just always liked that. I don't know. Very cool that you got to go to see that. I went to the Indianapolis. I believe it was at the State Museum when they did a Star Trek. No, Star Wars. God, I did that again. Last year, 2 years ago, I did that, and people made fun of me endlessly on the show. I made a slip of tongue between Star Wars and Star Trek, and I just fucking did it again. We went to see a Star Wars exhibit. I think my brother was in town. Maybe. It was really fun. They had all all sorts of great stuff, like just tons of fucking props from the show. Pieces of the Millennium Falcon. I didn't want to sit in a 3-hour line, but you could sit and get your picture taken in the Millennium Falcon, like that scene, where Han and Chewie are sitting there and Ben Kenobi is leaning in, that one, the one quintessential Star Wars scene. Really fun stuff. So that's cool that you got to go see that. Have you ever been to a similar event for Doctor Who? I know you're also a big Doctor fan.
Not like an exhibit or anything, no.
I just know because I have a lot of nerd friends that I hear a lot about it. Is it popular in the United States?
Yeah, it's fairly popular.
Okay.
There's actually a store in just outside of Indianapolis that sells Doctor Who merchandise, and they have a small Doctor Who museum there.
Oh wow, that's great.
Excellent.
Is the Turtis on display over there, Craig?
No, the Turtis is not. The Turtis is only on display in my camp in Fallout 76.
Oh, I suggest if you're on Xbox and you have the opportunity, please stop by Craig's camp. I think you had moved it since last time I had visited you. The Turtis is now on a different location, but it will always move with Craig's camp. You'll always get a nice display of the Turtis every time you show up. So take a pilgrimage to Craig's camp. Take the load off, if you will, and visit the Turtis. I'd like to thank Lee for his feedback. He did Mayor for a Day. Is that what that quest is called? I think it's called that.
Yeah.
We finished that up, Jess.
Yeah, we just did that on Tuesday night. Finished it up for the first time for me.
You stim packed me alive like 100 times. It was awesome.
There were a few, but it was rough. There were only the two of us, a lot of robots, and the Scorch Beast Queen kept spawning scorched on the roof too. So
spawning scorched on the roof, and those Mr. Handies at level 50 or whatever are no fucking joke. They really will take you down.
And Mr. Ray jumps right in the fray too.
Well, I don't even carry a ranged weapon. Like I'm not even a mid-range. Like everything I do has to be within 5 feet. Vats will give you a little tiny bit of an edge or a little bit of room, a little bit of wiggle room, but not a ton. Everything I do, and I'm always worried. I know we're on the same team. We've got our pacifist mode turned on, so we're not actually doing damage into each other. But I'm always worried when I play the style that, am I getting in their way? Am I in your way, Jess? When we play like that, like I know because you've got rifles and you hang back and shoot stuff. Is it annoying to play with someone like me?
No, you're not pulling a Lydia on me. I mean, maybe a little. maybe a little bit, but you VATS if someone's right in front of you. You run, you kind of run and triangulate. I'm used to it at this point.
I'm sworn to carry your burdens, Jess.
Please do carry more masks for me. Thank you.
Oh my lord, I've got 80 Fashnock masks for you. Oh, Lord.
But yeah,
and you're drawing everybody's attention, so she can just hang back and not have to worry about anything up close on her.
You would hope so, but those fucking Mr. Handy robots, God, they were no joke.
Yeah, I'm all melee, so it was definitely, some nuts.
Did you go out there and do that? Yeah, it's a crazy one. Did you go out there?
Three of us did it in a row.
Oh, that's fun. So you each helped each other?
Yeah.
Ran through it 3 times? That's funny. That's a good way to do it.
Oh, wow. So when you said that, you meant that one of you put in the start of the upload, fought them off, and another person put in the upload?
Yep.
Oh, wow. It must have been littered with metal bodies.
Yeah. Robot carcasses everywhere.
It was crazy.
You had all sorts of lead and steel. You could make, ammunition for days after that.
That's a testament to the construction of the building that it was able to hold all that weight.
Should have tipped the fuck over. Yeah. All right. Well, let's go ahead and proceed with some more feedback. And then Ray and Jess, I don't know what you guys have prepared or if you just want to chat light about it, but we need to get into survival patch notes here in a little bit. And if anyone ran into the alcohol quest, I think Craig's been doing a lot of that. Craig, I'd like to hear some feedback on is it Biv, that robot, and some of the alcohol stuff, maybe some recipes you like, what some of the alcohol does, just some of your basic experiences with that when we come up here in a little bit. But before that, we'll go ahead and check in. See, we just heard Eddie.
No, we just heard Lee.
Oh, we heard Lee. Okay, so let's go ahead, Lee with Mayor for a day, and we'll move on with Eddie. Hey, Eddie.
Hello everyone, this is Eddie with Season 7 feedback for my character Sammy Hopewell for the quest Back to Basic and Belly of the Beast. After Sammy jetpacked her way to the security grid, she discovered she needed to be former military to be accepted into the Brotherhood of Steel. She figured a good place to start was the old Army training base near Sutton, Camp McClintock. She had been by it a few times before, but had yet to climb the hill to check it out. Upon arriving there, she was surprised to see it run by a bunch of Sergeant Gutsies, who seemed upset she was out of uniform. Sammy headed over to the barracks to look for a uniform. She didn't have much luck, but she did find a voucher for one. Inside the main office, she put her voucher into a machine, and it dispensed an army helmet and some fatigues. She put them on and went back upstairs to see the Master Sergeant. He was glad to see her in uniform, and sent her outside for training. First up, marksman training. Sammy had to hit all the targets in the yard within the time allotted. When she was done, the drill sergeant seemed impressed. He said he felt sorry for her mother because she was obviously born with that rifle in her hands. She then moved over to the patriotism training, where she had to figure out which suspect was the commie. Two of the suspects talked about how great America was, but not Jimmy. He talked about his dad and the Union, fighting for better working conditions. From what she learned in history classes, Shirley would have gained the reputation of commie in 2077. Sammy's gymnastics training paid off in the next round of training, the obstacle course. She breezed through it with time to spare. She then moved on to the final round, live fire training. 3 rounds of robots, each increasingly stronger. Old strike breakers that had been converted into communists. None of them were a match for Sammy's super sledge. When she reported back to the Master Sergeant Gutsy, he gave her a soldier certificate. And after she spent what felt like an eternity in the DMV, she had her military ID card. Sammy returned to Fort Defiance and completed registration for the Brotherhood, which gave her clearance to the top floor, where she looked around for clues as to what the Brotherhood knew about the Scorch Beast. The info she's looking for, though, was locked behind another security grid. To get through it, she was going to have to track down Taggarty herself. Sammy found information on the last known mission Taggarty's team was on. She'd have to use the team's radio frequency to track down their whereabouts. The first transponder she came across played a message that sounded as if things were going fairly normal, but she tracked down more transponders. It was clear that their battles with the Sierra Bravos was a losing proposition. Sammy tracked their whereabouts to an area known as the Glassed Cavern, an old mine not far from a couple of fissure sites, one of which was the largest Sammy had seen so far. She decided to call in some help before heading in. She was able to get some help from her friends, Cobb, Sammy Please, and Vlad. Together, the foursome made their way through the mine, fighting scorched, mirelurks, and ever-increasingly stronger creatures, until they reached a large open area where they encountered a Scorch Beast. Awfully tight quarters for a Scorch Beast fight, she thought, but at least there wasn't room for it to fly. Thankfully, a few of them had brought some heavy artillery, and the fight was over quickly. They found Taggarty's final resting place on a large rocky outcrop not far away. After listening to the final recording, Sammy found the key card to access Taggarty's office. Taggarty and her team had ultimately sacrificed themselves in an attempt to end the Scorched Plague. Sammy hoped her and her friends didn't meet the same fate. Back at Fort Defiance, Sammy logged into Taggarty's terminal, and they had determined the best possible chance to beat the Scorch was nuclear weapons. One of Taggarty's squad found a missile silo, but security was too strong to get in. It's possible Sam Blackwell may know more. He was on the Nuclear Energy Committee before leaving to join the Free States. No one knows where his bunker is, except maybe someone at the Herald. They had done an interview with him shortly before the war. Sammy figured that was as good a place to start her search. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the wasteland.
I don't know. Where are we going? Is he downtown? Where is his office? He Charleston? Where's Sam Blackwell's office? Where are we going to next?
Right in the Capitol building.
Wait, is that Charleston? With the dome?
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
Charleston.
gold dome? Okay. I keep getting mixed up. There's It's not Lexington. What is it? There's an L one too.
Lewisburg?
There's Lewisburg, yeah.
Yeah, Lewisburg. That's right on the edge of the ash pile, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
Right below the widow's perch.
Man, I cracked myself up, you guys. The ash pile. How clever is that? Come on. So funny. So funny.
Almost as good as the iguana bits.
Yeah, so we hit Sam Blackwell's office in the Free States quest. That's where we
You're
got
right, right.
the file for the satellite upload.
I
Yep.
think that's where you can bottleneck all those ghouls, right? Isn't that where there's like 30 ghouls that come and you duck into that one office and there's just like they just come after you like over and over. I think that's that building.
Yeah, there's so many ghouls there from all sides.
It's
You know,
just fucking crazy how many they stuff in there. But you can bottleneck them and it makes it really nice because it's just like you get into a rhythm where it's almost like, you know, Kathy. I almost said Ireland. It's not Kathy Ireland. Who did the Jazzercise stuff in the 80s? Bridget Fonda? Jane Fonda. Jane Fonda. No, not Bridget Fonda. That would have been better.
no.
That would have been way better if it was Bridget Fonda. But yeah, Jane Fonda's style. If you get into that rhythm, sort of like the Jazzercise, they just sort of come at you. If you get your your melee down, just boom, 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 you get the rhythm going down. You can really, it's really fun. I love doing that. Jess, you sort of do that with your when you plop down. We haven't done a workshop in a long time together now that I think about it, but when we used to do workshops together, you have blueprinted just a couple of quick things.
Right.
That you just sort of toss them down, and that makes things sort of like have to flow down the main drag of things. So like,
yeah, it's like my equivalent of a portable camp. Since I build big camps and can't move them around, I've got all these little things blueprinted for workshops. It's probably been a couple weeks since we did one, but we were talking the other day about maybe doing a day where we got 7 or 10 of them.
Yes.
To defenses.
I want to get all of them, get a team of 4, see if we can get every fucking workshop in the game, and see how long we can hold them and protect them for a day.
Except the reclaimed ammunition factory. We don't do that.
Unless someone just has more ammunition they're willing to donate to the project than they will receive in return, then you can go ahead and do the ammunition. But I've learned that it is not worth it. Some people I know in the group really like that location. But unless you're just completely melee, you have to invest so much fucking ammunition just claiming that damn place. So I don't think it's worth it. But anyway, I figured that's a good Saturday, Sunday afternoon type of project with the whole Xbox group. Someone get it in the morning, see how many people sort of filter in, see how many of these fucking workshops we can keep like all day long. It's evidently one of the achievements. I don't look at challenges. I don't look at the achievements very often, but I was looking at them Today. And this was a challenge. It must have not been an Xbox achievement, but an in-game challenge, I believe.
Yeah, they had Dolly Sods, take Dolly Sods last week. I think.
That was a daily or weekly this time. But and they have different categories like weekly, daily, combat, character, and I think in character, I believe, is the take over. I believe the top number is 20. Take over 20 individual workshops, and I thought that I'd found them all. Surprised enough, the 16 of 20 is all that I have done. There are 4 out there that I have yet to take over, yet to claim. That surprised me for some reason.
Yeah, so you have to be careful now because that's the land of griefers. So that's the last thing that they can do now is kill people taking over workshops.
Yep.
I've never had trouble. I've taken over lots of workshops. Jess will vouch for me. I've taken over a lot of workshops. It's what I spend a lot of my time doing.
Since the beta started for the survival mode, because those guys aren't going to the survival mode.
Now they're coming to workshops.
Yep.
That's what I spent a lot of time today doing. Craig came over and busted my ass out over. I got myself into a lot of trouble somewhere. I was probably in the cranberry bog. I don't know. One of them I was defending today. Craig had to come over and bust my ass out. I think I Scorch Beast into a battle I did not intend to Scorch Beast to be in. It got nasty. Oh, and then some showed up at your camp or some shit too.
Yeah, 2 Scorch Beasts showed up and brought like half a dozen Scorched with them.
Like, you guys are not invited to this party. What are you doing? Get out of here. Oh, ugly business. All right.
We need to be able to put anti-aircraft batteries on top of our camps.
Yeah.
Seriously. Hey, speaking of the patch notes then, did you see they mentioned about increasing turret damage?
Yep.
I'm excited about that. That might help some defense a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's get into your patch notes, your update here. What do you guys have in general, and then get into some nitty-gritty specifics if you have anything too.
So turrets are going to be so their strength is going to match player guns, because evidently they weren't doing as much damage as a equivalent 5.56 player gun, and also their range is going to be extended to the range of the player guns as well. So
That's a little crazy. Wow.
Yeah, they didn't say specifically how much. I mean, it probably won't be like long barrel pistols or rifles at 210 or something, but I'm sure they're going to increase it to at least, short to average, 120 or so.
Yeah, I was going to say,
well, the assault rifle is probably the closest comparison.
Yeah, because it uses that 5.56 ammo.
Yeah, good point.
And so they're going to base it off of. Okay, here's a question. They're going to base it off of what you would do with the 5.56. So does it matter? Is it level dependent upon when you build the turret? Then if you build at level 50, will your turret be better? If I still have level 2 or 3, if I have I think it goes up to 3. If I have level 3 of that home defender, whatever that card is, whatever level you can get that at the lowest level. If I have it at level 20, say, for example, I'm not sure that these numbers are true. These are just examples. If at level 20 I have level 3 of that card, will my turrets be any more dangerous at level 50 if I build another turret with level 3 of that card? Do you see what I mean? Does that affect your turrets as well?
Yeah, they don't spell that out.
No, and what the home defense does, it affects what you can build, just like armor or something. It doesn't affect how strong they are. So your lowest level turrets are always going to be level 4. And, and then your heavy machine guns and your spotlights, you can start to build those as you get home defense up. But it does say, like what Ray is saying, that they're going to have level scaling on them, like with players. So those level 4 turrets shooting a level 50 character is going to have a little bit of scaling, just like if you are a level 4 character with a gun. That's going to have some scaling. Nice. Yeah, so they should matter.
Yeah, that's cool. Now, are they assuming that those are just going to be mainly for killing other players? Like, is this a survival mode thing, basically, but also they're adding that to adventure mode as well?
Well, I mean, I think some of that is probably in response to, the frequency of players being attacked for workshops.
Yep, and the camp griefing until they stop that, because like Ray was saying, they've gotten rid of slap damage now, so you can no longer be griefed. Workshops are the place. They're still doing camps, but that's in a future patch, so that one's not coming out yet.
I want to know everything, but they're Bethesda, and all they do is give vaguities to us to try to sniff around, and that is one of
one paragraph.
That is one of their things. Like, they like the old style Japanese sort of like dribble a few crumbs and let people start sniffing and build up a lot of anticipation, and like make the demand high by only providing a certain little tiny bit of information at first, so people get crazy, that sort of thing. Bethesda loves to not tell you, let you know anything about what is going to happen except for little vagaries. Like my least favorite fucking program note here in the updates every dime, guys, is system improvements.
Yes.
System improvements, stability issues improved, system improvements. Like, what? What does that mean? Tell me.
Yeah, it means they turn Fashnacht off, so you're not server hopping 50,000 times.
Did that cause any issues, do you think, on their end? Does that cause stress to their back end on their system server? People doing stuff like that, like Jen and I were abusing last week. Jen,
I'm
way to
assuming it couldn't help.
No.
Yeah, the number of freaky things that happened with all the server jumps that I did, it
Tell me.
has to affect,
Tell
because
me,
it was
tell me what was happening.
you jump to a server and it would say that Fashnak was starting, and so you'd run into the town to get started, and there was no decorations, there was no robots. You just had a bunch of people running around doing the question emoji, um, and then hopping off to another server.
Gosh, I don't know that I experienced a ton of that. What I would notice is that it would say Fashnacht is going on, and then I would run into town and nothing would be there. Then all of a sudden everything would like slowly load in around me. And in the meantime, I'd already run all the way across the whole town basically. And then I would get that thing where something is hitting me, but I can't see it yet. And as it loads in, there's 3 Scorch standing around me, pounding on me.
Mm. So the one thing that they did give plenty of details on, and probably the most exciting for White Springs grinders,
Oh yeah.
is the vendor faction updates.
Okay, tell me about this. What happened?
So inside White Spring, there in the shops downstairs now, there will be a robot from every faction with a shop.
Does this eliminate? Do they share the inventory and budget with each of the faction robots at the train stations? Does this eliminate my need to hop around like that? Can I hit everyone at once?
So inventory will be interesting to see, but the caps, all 7 factions will work from the same pool.
Yeah.
So you can go to one vendor and sell 1,400 caps worth of stuff.
Oh, I like that. Instead of the 200 and have to move on.
Yep.
I like that.
Yeah, so there's a lot of benefit there, because having all the factions and White Springs, Pat and I were talking about it earlier, and, we're guessing that maybe they'll reflect the inventories, like the static inventory of some of the main vendors at the stations, because a lot of the other factions have only one vendor. So probably the inventories will reflect that, but then the random items will be different, because every vendor has static items and then random, like the mod items. So for responders, who knows who it'll mirror. But having 1,400 caps there, that will be fantastic.
Yeah, that's no joke. That's great. All right.
Yeah, so the only one that won't be in the White Spring Hotel is the Enclave.
Well, that makes sense. They're right outside anyway.
Because they're right there, yeah.
Gosh, that's nice.
And they don't share.
Yeah, they got to hide.
But so that's going to make Nuke and White Springs all the better.
I just need more hardened mass. How can I get more hardened mass?
Drop more nukes.
Yeah. Need to do that. The only problem with that is, Ray, I keep thinking for some reason, because my roundtable character is now level 108, I think. I keep thinking that my beta character is, much higher level than it actually is. Like last week I was saying I was a level mid 40s or something. This motherfucker's like level 24 or something. It is not it is not a easy task to go running in these missile silos with these really high level robots and stuff. No messing around in there. Like I was joking that I was like being a kid and Alex was walking me through the process and I had no idea what was going on, but that's no joke. He was literally holding my hand, walking me through. I mean, not literally. He wasn't in my house, but he was, side by side, pulling me through. Basically, stay behind me. Let's go. Like don't do anything. Just follow me. That sort of thing. In order to launch this, I was not able. They don't mean for you to be able to do this with a level 20 character by yourself.
No.
This is end game stuff. They want you to be level 50 with a team of at least 2, if not 3 or 4, or 2 teams of 4 to go in. That's kind of how we did it. We had a bunch of different people.
Yeah, or one person at 200.
One person at 200 helps.
Because that's how we get our nukes. Is Christian goes in and launches them.
Yeah, welcome a new addition to the group, Christian. World famous. World famous Christian joined the group. Welcome, Ray. Have you hopped in with him a bunch? I know everybody else has. I don't think I've heard you mention a ton of playthroughs.
Oh, absolutely. Yep.
Launching your nukes for you that you're getting all your XP from on this current character.
Yeah. And so he took Eddie on a run earlier, and so now we'll have a couple to go. And Phil and I are pretty close behind.
With your new character, you're gonna go through the. So to really get through it, you just need to go through the enclave, and that's just to kill those 3 death claws in that cave and get access to the enclave. You don't really have to do the whole story that we're going through right now, right?
Nope.
So what are we doing? Why are we doing this? Season over. We quit. Craig,
we can't quit now. We're almost done. This is the part that you skipped to.
Yeah, I was thinking of rushing through the next few quests just to get my roundtable character to the points, because it's a much higher level character. But I think I'm gonna avoid doing it. I think I'm gonna stick with the schedule and let my roundtable character nuke on. Is it what, 3 weeks, 3 episodes, 2 episodes now? I don't even know how much we have to go. It's not long. We'll be nuking here in the next probably month and a half or so.
Yeah,
God, that still sounds long though. God, we go slow, you guys.
You have to take the long road. You have to understand West Virginia to rebuild West Virginia. That's why we do it.
So I don't know if I got your opinion on this, Craig. We have these high level characters here. You're level 98, 100. I don't know. You're really 98. Close by. What is this? You have your roundtable character too. What is this? Starting over characters playing the new quests again, things you've done with higher level, like what does that say to you? What do your gamer instincts say? Is that a bad thing to be starting characters over in this sort of online? It's not really competitive, but you know what I mean. In an online environment, it's always fun to use a really high character.
Yeah, I think it's more fun to have a high character, but I mean, I've tried to start new characters, but I always keep coming back to my roundtable since he's the highest now.
Yeah. See, the thing is with my beta character, like I mentioned a few minutes ago, it wasn't actually all that high of a level. So my main became my roundtable character because I hit the ground running so hard with my roundtable character. And that's about when Alex took me under his wing and took me into blast zones and stuff. So I XP'd up really quickly with my roundtable character and quickly surpassed my beta character. So it kind of became my main anyway. But yeah, when next season starts, like, what have I don't even remember what I've done with my beta versus what I've done with Mr. Marie. Like, and that will dictate what I can do with the character for the next season. So if we come up with the idea of what quest we're going to do for next season, if it happens to be quests that Mr. Marie has already done, then I will, have to be starting a new character so I can do those quests again. They'll be fresh in my mind because, like we mentioned before, you cannot do a hard save and replay stuff in this game. I always like to do it fresh right before the show.
So the incredibly organized people will enjoy that you can rename your weapons, or actually all your gear now.
Okay.
With the new.
All right. Especially with power armor. That the most annoying part about the not being able to rename stuff is the power armor aspect. You can favorite items that you like, but in order to pull out the appropriate power armor is a very fucking bad chore. And I am really bad about what I want to do when I walk up to this random piece of this random suit of power armor. What I want to do, you guys, what the intentions are, is to look through the inventory and to pick out items that I like. Now, what always happens is that Andrew is a fuck nut and he hops into these random power armor suits and is like, shit. Now I have 5 different power armor chassis, all labeled power armor chassis. All right, here we go. Let's bust them all fucking out. Parade number 1, member number 2, And I'm doing my own Fashnacht parade here in the middle of the fucking planet, trying to get out my power armor chassis to figure out which one is which. Okay, then I have to put those, or you leave these out. You take that one, you take it over to a bench, and you scrap it, and then you use it. Okay, now I have to take all those and put those back in the bench, but not the one you want to keep out. And you put those back. I hate it. Oh my god, it is the most annoying thing ever. Thank God they're letting you name individual items, because that is a fucking problem.
Yeah, and having never really played with power armor until just recently, I'd never noticed because I've never had one in my inventory. And the one thing that I wish I had known before I unpacked them was that the ones that you haven't unpacked yet are at 0. So if you have one that you're using, it's going to be 10 pounds, and the others will be 0. And so you always know which one to pull out. But I said, "Oh, what are these?" and pulled them out, and yeah, sure enough, now they're all the same.
Yeah. And I have 3, I think, that I use. I have my excavator. I have... What do I have? Oh, a Nuka Cola T51B set with a jetpack that Alex and I believe Pat helped me. I don't know. Craig may have helped me. I guess a few items together too. But people helped me farm some stuff to get those pieces put together, so we could put a jetpack together. Because my son Mo, my 4-year-old, loves the power armor. He loves running around in a power armor with an axe. That's his favorite way to play. And go get Scorched and Ghouls. Go get them. And we added a jetpack because I thought he would think that's really fun. And he loves the power armor with a jetpack. And that's pretty much the only reason that I have that power armor, just because it's fun to have the jetpack, and Mo thought that'd be fun. So excavator, Nuka-Cola, and maybe... Do I have an ultrasight? Did we just get that? We just got the ultrasight, didn't we?
Yeah, it was part of the Brotherhood, the quest that we just finished.
When we were at Belly of the Beast, right? When you finish that, when you go back, that opens up the...
Yeah, it shows up. Just like when you finish Rose's quests, you end up with Raider power armor in your inventory.
Oh, I must have scrapped that bullshit. Raider power armor, come on. Are we being serious here? Are we being serious? Because don't play jokes on me with this Raider power armor stuff. Come on. Don't even come at me.
It looks good.
Come at me with Raider power armor. Eye roll. Take it away, Eddie.
And then we'll get a new quest.
Oh! Tell me, what do we have? Fashnacht 2? Return of the Fashnacht? The Fashnachtening?
Sheep Squatch.
Ooh, I've heard about Sheep Squatch. There was even references dropped about the Trailer Park Boys, where people were like, "What? I don't get it." Sam Squanch. Yeah, Sam Squanch is coming to the game finally. I can't wait. That's so great.
Yep. So that'll be the quest. I didn't see a date. It seems to me I remember it was like April 9th or something.
How is this manifest?
So it's a sleuthing quest. So you have to put together clues, and what's it say? All new quest line that's shrouded in mystery, deception, and rumors. A ferocious cryptid roaming the wasteland. So
yeah.
Oh, that's it?
No, it says a lot more. I mean, starting in that L town we were talking about, Lewisburg, and there are posters to start it, just like the last one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the fabled woolly terror of West Virginia.
All right, so this to me, and I don't know where I got this impression. I feel like I've read more about this somewhere. You know, Bethesda, like we were mentioning, doesn't like to tell you anything ever. I feel like for some reason I got the impression that this was a very chupacabra inspired thing. Like the livestock are being killed by something. There's a mystery beast out there, like dragging livestock, or you find livestock dead the next morning with holes in the neck type thing. What is this? Let's go figure out this mystery type thing. Very chupacabra feel to me.
Yeah, except this one ate the lady's brother.
Yep.
Oh, I thought it was okay. All right, I'm fucked up and wrong. Let's
Well, who knows what food squashes get up to in their spare time? Might have
Food
eaten somebody's brother. Might have gotten some of those Brahmin. You know how we sometimes see like a bunch of dead Brahmin in an area? Maybe that was
Yeah.
like foretelling this quest.
You guys found the Brahmin in the river?
That's just scary. Remember we found them by Wavy Willards the other day too? They were like
Yeah.
10 to 12 Brahmin just, you know.
Hey
Well,
guys.
the picture in the Facebook group with them surrounding the gnome was pretty creepy.
Oh, very. But yeah, so all the items we're talking about, that's the first, that was inside the vault today for talking about patch 8 highlights. Patch 8's coming up. So what we just had for survival mode, they're calling patch 7.5, and then patch 8 coming out April, like Ray said, probably April 9th. So they're talking about half of what's going to be in the patch now, which is the new quest line, Lying Low, which they've also referred to as Sheer Terror. Customizing the gear with item remaining, vendor faction updates, and the turret damage. Next week, they said they're going to talk about the second half, so we should have a lot more and a lot to look forward to when this comes out.
Was Lying Low something different than the Sheep Squatch quest?
Yeah, it's lying like LYING LOWE.
That's what I'm saying, Ray. It's just my Hoosier accent makes you think I'm saying laying. But yes, that's that with the Hoosier. If you count for the drawl,
It's lying low.
lying low. Come on, you gotta give me a little leeway. You live in Georgia. I know you don't have the Georgia accent, but you gotta hear that on so you just gotta be knee deep in molasses down there.
True.
Like molasses dripping out of your mouth. All right, there's my reference for this week that no one's gonna get. Jess, does anyone get that? I give you a hint.
I get it.
Yeah, thank you. Craig.
Yes, thank you, Craig.
Ray, he and our paths never shall meet when it comes to consuming pop culture references other than Fallout and Skyrim, probably. It's probably where we meet.
Yeah, that was the divergence.
And then their paths went opposite directions. Great feedback there from Eddie. Let's see, what else? Do we have any other huge issues from the patch? One thing that I'm super interested in is this legendary reroll. I don't know what it's being referred to as, but this legendary vendor where you can re-roll your legendaries. I've now started, when I go to Blast Zone, started collecting every item that is a 3-star, no matter what material it is on, be it weapon or armor. Just if it has 3 stars, I'm taking it. Just because I don't know what the mechanics are going to be, if you're going to be able to change the material that it's on, if you're going to change that, or just be able to change the 3 stars, if that'll change at all, if only one of the things, like there's all sorts of speculation out there about what is actually going to happen. Do we have any sort of information about what this will actually be like?
No more than we had last week. Yeah, same as last week. We think it's going to be at the Berkeley Springs train station. Some people have seen inside by using the campfire trick or dying nearby, and we have no idea what it's going to actually look like.
All right. Well, keep me posted. I need to know more about this. Am I wasting my time hoarding these 3-star legendary items? I'm
hoarding them too.
I have no idea what it's about. But just in case, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And my stash is full. So I'm like at that point where I'm like juggling a lot of stuff now. Like, okay, I can carry this with me because I need to store that bit. Oh, I can take this out. And, oh God, I don't want to scrap that. But yeah, you're gonna have to go. Sorry, I'm at that point. You know what I mean? I need to bulk a bunch of stuff I'm not using and go sell the fucking loose items. Jess was bringing up. There's loose items that won't automatically bulk. She has the list in her head. I know you know it off the top of your head. I'm just like, what is this? Asbestos. Why do I have 418 asbestos in my inventory? Like, that should be bulked so I can get rid of the weight and stuff. But certain items won't do it, right?
Yeah, but you can sell them straight up. So this is probably a good time to do it.
And that's the first thing I sell when I go to the train station. You got your stash box there. The first thing I pull out is all those items that won't bulk in
Yep.
my junk inventory. Yeah, for space reason. In my head, for some reason, I don't know if this is actually correct, but calculating in my head, I'm assuming that is the most efficient way to save space in my stash, is to get rid of the stuff first that I'm not intending on using, but yet won't bulk, because bulking saves weight. So in my head, that theory makes sense. I don't know if that's actually true or not.
Yeah, and like your tip in Facebook the other day, always sort your junk, take out what you haven't scrapped, go through your ammo, give away or get rid of what you're not going to use, all that good stuff.
Miscellaneous. Go into your miscellaneous tab and click your left stick a couple times so that it's sorted by weight. For the first few weeks, I had no idea why I'm like bogged down by all this heavy stuff. It's because in your miscellaneous tab, there's all your different ores that you're mining, and there's gunpowder. If you fought a bunch of super mutants over and over, you're going to get weighed down by like 500 gunpowder. It just happens if you fight a bunch of super mutants, and that stuff has weight to it, so you got to get rid of it. Also, the bobby pins used to weigh like 0.1, which is ridiculous. I just noticed today they are 0 now in my inventory. They're completely wiped out now, right? Weight for the
They've gotten rid of a lot of the weight on some things that had it. Yeah, atomic roller balls and all that, totally 0.
Yeah, I used to drop those. I definitely have some of those in my inventory now too, because they're zeroed out. All right, update wise, what else we got coming?
Yeah, that's all they announced, but we do still have regularly get new recipes for brewing in our brewing stations.
Yeah, we need to get into the alcohol quests, which I have not done a ton with. I know Craig has run a bunch of them, so maybe we'll check in with that after our next batch of feedback here. Eddie, thank you for your feedback there. Let me know how things are going down in Australia. Eddie, I know you love living down there petting kangaroos and covering your head from drop bears. They'll get you. You got to watch out, Eddie. Those walking around Australia is pretty dangerous. So we will continue on the show with Steve, who's not quite Australia, but Steve, where do you live? Do you live in Michigan, Steve? Is that right? No, I think that's Clint. Clint lives in Michigan. I'm sorry. Gosh, I always getting this all backwards, you guys. I have no idea. I think Steve might live in New Zealand, though. Kia ora, Steve.
Kia ora, Steve here. Checking in, doing good. Right up to the mark on the quests, but not beyond them. I've been kind of enjoying playing my original beta character, Ranzerox, more than Gouverneur lately. Gouverneur's all right. He's just kind of a schmuck.
Everyone wants the original character.
Mayor McDonough. He thinks he's entitled to lead everyone out here because of who his family is. He's always telling everyone what they should do, but no one listens to him. He's level 69, dude. I kind of ran through some of the perks last time. I'm just really playing catch up on trying to get him to a working point because I didn't have an end game planned out until kind of recently as far as the perks go. And I was choosing perks with the levels that the random character generator gave me, and I had to take a bunch of perk cards I don't really use or don't want to use. And I'm trying to build up some of those quality of life cards too, like for crafting and stuff, just like you guys were talking about last week. It makes a big difference when you start with the plan early. Which brings me to Ranzerox, my original beta character. He's also at the exact same point in the quest line. Uncle Sam is next, so I'll run you through a couple things I'm trying out with him. So with Ranzerox, that's with 2 capital X's respectively. He is focusing on like a strength build. Woo, imaginative, right? Especially with this meta in the game of the melee. Well, I'm playing it with a 15 strength, which lets me put max points into martial artist, incisor, barbarian, and also sturdy frame and strong back. And I have a 15 in endurance with max life giver, chem fiend, adamantium skeleton, Aquaboy, and I'm trying it out, Radicool, which the greater your rads, the greater your strength. So I'm always trying to keep that where I'm getting 2 or 3 strength from it. And I'm pairing that with the charisma perk Overly Generous, which is rads increase your chance to inflict rads with your melee attacks. I suppose it works, I think. Um, I'm a beast out there sometimes. I have a couple of things that give me strength, like armor and weapons. And then when you pop a buff tat for a 3 strength, and he's hitting shit. Sometimes he has to jump into the power armor for being able to take the hits too, but he likes to mostly run around with just armor. Um, I'm going to put 5 agility points in adrenaline for gain plus 10% up to max 60 damage for 30 per kill, 30 seconds per kill. And the duration refreshes with kill. So that'll be neat to try out. And he has also a 15 in luck. And I'm going with max bloody mess. So just damage there. 15%, which is a good plus damage. A psychopath for kills and vats to refill the crit meter. 2 points in Grim Reaper Sprint for kills and vats to restore action points. 2 in 4-leaf clover for hits and vats to better fill the crit meter, and 2 in better criticals for 30% better criticals. And then 3 in class freak because I'm always adding and removing mutations because of my rad level. But I decided I'm not going to balance my mutations right now because I don't really want to swap cards around. It's kind of fun and random to add and remove the mutations. So, yep, level 53, and it's going to take me quite a few more levels to get everything there quite right. But I've been taking the cards correctly for a while now, so it's much more dialed in than Gouverneur was when he hit 50. I use the character planner at Nukes and Dragons. That thing really helped, and there's even a leveling roadmap you can use to help you pick the right perk cards at the right levels with that thing. The camps. I seem to have built my camps into existing environments instead of using portable ones and moving them around all the time. Ransarox's camp is out in the mire. I had found this place that had a bunch of little rock plateaus, and so I built all the workbenches on the different plateaus and stuff. And I put a picture of it up a little while ago on the Facebook page. I also have a bunch of fires there, which is cool in the nighttime because it's extra dark in where I'm at. A lot of trees, and the fires make a nice glow. And there's a couple of gulpers in the local trees that wander over often to say hi. And so I pet them with my vampiric electrified assaultron blade, and then I play some cool jazz beats on the snare. So that's what's going on with me. Cheers, everybody, and I will see you in the wasteland.
Kiora, Steve. Thanks, buddy. Look out for Steve next week on the show. Please, everyone, I'm demanding right now. I want everyone out there to write down 3 ideas for the character generator that we did not consider for the first season that will improve your experience for rolling a new character and going through some of these cool side quests for season 2. Because as we can tell, Steve even mentioned it too. Like, he's been having more fun with his high level. Like, people like, in this environment, for some reason, we are drawn to using the higher level character. And it might not be the best is to roll new characters all the time, but still, I don't want to go out there and be like, these are the only quests you can play. Don't play the side quests because we might play those in a future season. You know, that's annoying to put limitations onto people. You know what I mean?
Especially when there aren't that many quests.
Yeah. And they like to really, you see pictures. Oh God, Jess is wearing that really cool jewel and that neat black and green dress. What is that about? Oh, that's what is it called? Mistress of Mystery. Okay, where's that? Oh, down. Okay. Andrew, trip. Oh, all of a sudden, Andrew's like 3/4 of the way through that quest. I can't hold off on doing cool stuff. You stumble over, you do the Mothman stuff. You're like, oh, wow, that's all. Yeah. You want to hold off to do the stuff for the future seasons, but You can't put limitations on it. And it's annoying to start new characters. That's one of the big drawbacks of this not starting with 28 special points, right? That was one of the big advantages of 4. You kind of start with your character's background sort of made. This one you have to make it.
Yeah, make it as you go. So by the time you're really a fully realized character, you've come close to max level.
And you have to use a roadmap to do it efficiently. That was one of the things about the old way, the Fallout 4. We had our efficient little roadmap system. We do the level up. It's just like this. It's even more important to know what you're doing with this style of level up, I feel.
One thing about Steve's feedback, sounds like he's a fellow non-power armor user. Yay!
Yay!
You work hard with those perks to get your armor up high.
Yeah.
We were talking about that the other day, trying to get, I'm at like 300 on one character right now without power armor. Pretty good, but I want to figure out ways to get higher.
Jess and I were whipping them out the other day, checking armor stats. Like, yeah, we were both, 250 to 330. I don't know what you were higher than me, but yeah, we were without power armor. We were pretty well protected with appropriate cards and stuff.
Who needs power armor? And I mean, we can move faster. Also, on Steve's feedback, he mentioned Mayor McDonough, and we noticed the other day doing Mayor for the Day quest that tan suit you get as reward is basically Mayor McDonough's outfit.
It is. It's got the green vest and everything, and I put it on. I've got a really chubby character. I put it on, and Jess was like, with your body style, that you are Mayor McDonough. That's so hilarious. And it was really funny to see my chubby character with the Mayor McDonough's crumpled hat and the tan suit on. It really looked a lot like him. It was really funny. And I'm doing the zero head thing, so it didn't I didn't have a different character face under there sort of to mislead you. So it even sort of gave the impression of like, oh, look, it's Mayor McDonough running around. That's really funny.
I just thought it was a really great nod. You're mayor now? Well, you're mayor now.
Yeah, they literally gave you the mayor costume from Fallout 4. It's really funny. Yeah, I like that. Let's see. What did I note about Steve's feedback here? He talked about a card. And I read a couple of different articles when doing character builds here to see what I was doing for my melee when I was gathering the perfect melee card characters. And this was a card that was mentioned for unarmed and melee both. In a couple of different articles, people doing different character builds for Fallout 76. This card, I forget exactly, he mentioned it by name, and I missed the name of it. But the effect is it inflicts radiation damage with a melee or unarmed attack. Now, that is awesome, and that's great. It's very cool. But then it makes me ask, what sort of radiation damage, do most of the bad guys in this game take? There's not a lot of raiders we're fighting. There's not a lot of people with living flesh. The bad guys who have been irradiated into monsters, do they have an inherent radiation damage resistance to them? Say, Deathclaw, Rad Scorpion, and such.
So ghouls would.
Ghouls, yes. I definitely would agree there. But aren't
super mutants?
Are Death Claws a version of a ghoul of a Jackson Chameleon? Because they are just a Jackson Chameleon that has been irradiated and changed into a different sort of being, or a la humans into ghouls. Even though ghouls much more resemble us physically than the Death Claw to the Jackson Chameleon, but didn't radiation cause that transformation? In both cases, isn't that the reason? The radiation was the reason for the change into a new being. Does radiation treat each of those monsters?
I mean, logically it would, but I don't know how many of them actually have resistance. Ghouls for sure, like you said, super mutants maybe a little, but I don't know the stats on that.
So I'm interested also, if I go to a blast zone, if I go to White Springs, there's a bunch of glowing ones running around. Am I wasting? And do they have a resistance against it? Is it doing no good if I'm adding that that perk card that does the radiation damage? Like, I'm just curious who it actually affects. Like robots? Would robots take radiation damage? I don't know why they would. There's no organic material on a robot. What?
Well, then how do you get diseased robots?
That's a great call. I don't know. Some like super mutant was rubbing up on it or something. I don't know.
I'm sure they don't wash their arms after they fight.
They don't take a C3PO.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's true.
dip. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm looking up on Wikipedia right now radiation damage stats, and a lot of them just have question marks next to their rad resistance. So I think we don't really know yet.
And if you've ever had a pregnant wife, anybody out there, you know they've got the Mr. Handy have those buzz saws, right? As they use as one as their main weapons and one of their little arms. If anyone's ever had a pregnant wife, you know that you can't do the lunch meat because of those the meat slicer style cutters, the basically buzz saws. There's a real listeria chance there, so you can't really use any sort of buzz saw. So I think there's a buzz saw listeria concern there too, Craig.
Oh, okay.
Listeria on those Mr. Handy buzz saws, right?
And if I get one more Mr. Handy buzz blade off of a legendary ghoul in White Springs,
really, that's a common item for you?
I've gotten it probably at least 5 times in the last week. Wow. And on top of that, I've gotten plans for them.
Oh my gosh. That is something I don't see almost ever.
Really? Yeah, no, I definitely see the weapon, but they're pushing the buzz blades. Not as common as ivory handle grips, but I've definitely seen it.
Gosh, that's another one that I don't see a ton of. You know what I get is a ton of really cool effects on totally useless items, like, or vice versa, like cool items with useless effects. They never combine the two together. Like it'd be like some really nice damage resistance plus cool plus agility armor, and then you're like, oh sweet, cool effects on this armor, and then you look at it and it's like it's wood armor. Wood. Huh. All right. Well, drop you. I guess I should be, saving those at this point because we don't know what aspects of that we'll be able to re-roll. I doubt the material will be able to change, but it'd be nice if I could take a wood piece of 3-star armor and change it into like a different 3-star piece of weightless combat armor or something. I'd totally take that. But, of course, things never work out the way we foresee. We make all these plans and all these guesses about what sort of form these new systems will take, and it's usually kind of different than what we plan.
Prognostications.
Yeah, I'm not good at that. I'm definitely not good at that. Now, people, Jess has been with it a long time. I know other people have been with the series for a long time, both Elder Scrolls and Fallout, and just having a general relationship with Bethesda Softworks and the game studios. You guys have kind of a better idea about what will go from game to game, what gets carried on, what sort of relationship these game designers have with these certain aspects of the game. I'm still trying to figure it out. So like when I prognosticate what the new stuff is going to be like, it's more like what I want it to be like, whereas you guys can actually sort of have an idea of what it might actually be like. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'm like what I want it to be, and you guys are actually probably a little closer to what's more accurate, what it will actually be like.
But things are always changing. As much as we talked about having co-op Fallout or co-op Skyrim, nobody really predicted the 76. So who knows? All guesses are out.
We're playing Fallout 4. One of my main complaints, one of the things we said on, I guarantee you go back to Fallout 4. How many times through all of our roundtable seasons, which were 6 seasons through Fallout 4? No, we did a New Vegas. So 5 seasons through Fallout 4. How many times do you think I probably said, oh gosh, if we could only play together? Is there a mod where we could do multiplayer? And still, you are correct, Jess. 76 it's exactly like Fallout 4 and nothing like I would imagine multiplayer Fallout 4 to be at the same time somehow. You know what I mean?
Yep. They really changed it up.
I was just thinking that today running around. I said, this is Fallout 4. This is beautiful. This looks exactly, to me, it's now if I go back to Fallout 4, I bet you I will be like, where are my hills? Where are the trees? Where are the beautiful colors?
You're going to be so lonely. All those companions and nobody to talk to.
And Phil started a Fallout 4 character the other day, and I was kind of like, really? People are still playing Fallout 4. But I was like, that's a perfectly good sign that is a great game still. But I haven't had time for it myself. But I love that people are still playing Fallout 4, even though there's 76 to be played.
Always. And, Fallout 3 and New Vegas. And, Pat's, speaking of, I don't know if you've mentioned recently, but Pat's Fallout 3 Let's Play continues on the Patreon feed. And it's going pretty great. It's really fun to listen to.
And he's posting episodes on the slow burn, I believe, in an iTunes feed over at ASA Let's Play. And I have a link for that in the show notes. If you go into the podcast here and you look and you click on the details or whatever, look in our show notes, you'll find our links there, our Twitter, our Facebook, the group, and all that if you want to do any joining up, email and stuff. Of course, you'll find our character generator links and all that. But one thing you will find is the link to Pat's ASA Let's Play of Fallout 3. Everyone go check that out. Pat has done one of the all-time favorites of anyone in our group for an ASA podcasting Let's Play. The character Arthur, he ran through Fallout 4. Smash hit. Everyone reflects on it as one of the best that we've had for ASA podcasting. So please join him on his semi-new, still continuing journey through Fallout 3. Find the links down below. Click on your podcatcher's details link now. One more thing, Steve mentioned camps. My camp has changed a lot over the last few weeks.
Yep.
From Jess and I trying to build an awesome tower to being destroyed as we had to peel it apart.
Yeah, to that yard sale looking thing you had going on by the playground with everything just scattered everywhere.
And yes, the yard sale where everyone could stop by for a little bit of swap meet action. And it was just fun. I really liked being by the playground, but I didn't have there was no flat spot. I wasn't really, I was still, Jess, I wasn't ready. I was heartbroken still.
No, you're working on artillery. Yeah.
So I was trying to figure out how artillery works. That was when I first worked on Jess and I were also talking about having a project. I'm really sad Foshnacht is over because we're talking about all the projects I've worked on recently. It was just like getting the artillery, getting the under armor, getting the rad arch, getting this and that and the other thing. I had this whole list of things that I've been working on. It's been really fun, and now I feel like I'm at a loss because I'm not going to do survival mode. I won't say never, but that doesn't appeal to me instinctively. But I guess I shouldn't, stick my nose up in the air until I've tried it and messed with it or at least a little bit. But I'm trying to figure out all these new ways to play the game. Jess knows all these things. I just trying to absorb. She's so much more knowledgeable than me.
Don't say that.
But Ray, I know you don't give a fuck about camps, but Steve was talking about camps. My camp has changed a lot. One thing I just mentioned that was one of my projects was the artillery.
Yeah.
That was one of my big first projects. And I got that built and it demolished me because I built a mobile camp, which I moved around all the time, was having a really good time and launching the artillery, and then all of a sudden the artillery stopped working. It's like, fuck. And then Foshnacht happened, so I was like, okay, I'll put the artillery in the back burner, or at least I have a different project now. Foshnacht, over and over and over again. I moved in at the end of the street there, and I didn't even worry about my artillery. But when I experimented with it afterward, it just there were zones you could toss your little smoke grenade and it would say too close to your camp or too far away from your camp if it couldn't fire. So it had a definite set of error messages that it would give you. Now you could always throw it in the sweet spot and it would fire like normal. But after I started getting these error messages, the error message changed to no artillery available, no matter if I was in the sweet spot, too far, or too close. So it wasn't registering that I had one at all. which is devastating. And it's still that way at my camp. I put an artillery out and it won't fire anything. Now, Jess, I did a little bit of experiment today when I was playing running around.
Oh, did you go back to the new location?
No, I decided to drop one at a workshop, and it fired beautifully and worked just normal, and everything was a-okay.
So it's just your camp artillery right now.
My camp artillery is bugged, but I can throw one down at a workshop, and it works just fine.
Oh, and maybe it'll unbug itself, because you just moved your camp, your tiny house, down to that new location in the ash pile.
You've seen that TV show, Tiny Houses, everybody, where you build a house in a trailer and they call it efficient living. That's what I'm doing with my little camp. Absolutely every workstation. Well, they added the alcohol ones. What are we calling that? What is that DLC or edition called? I keep calling it the alcohol quest. What is this called? The Greek system quests. I don't know what the fuck it's called.
Wild Wasteland.
Wild Wasteland. Okay. I thought that was the overarching sort of huge edition of every. Okay. Wild Wasteland. We'll call it that. Yeah, I haven't gotten into it very much. Oh, we need to maybe visit that if there's time. We're getting deep into the show here. So anyway, they added that. So that's the only one that I can't fit into my house. But I only have a 4x4 footprint. And I have absolutely every workstation in there that you could need. It goes like the weapons bench and then the armor bench side by side. And then around the corner, you turn 90 to 45 degrees. 90. Turn 90 degrees. Then you got your Kim and your Tinker. You turn 90 degrees. You got the cook station, and then the power generator, the nuclear power generator, which is huge. It takes up a big space, but it takes up a whole block itself widthwise, or lengthwise, but widthwise it only takes up half a spot. So also with those same dimensions is the rad arch. So you can fit both of those squished together in one block, sort of side by side, which is really nice. And Jess, I think you should stop by my camp and see, because you just recommended that I should get the advanced power switches, which I finally invested in, which thank you, by the way. That was very nice. Now it looks cramped in my camp, of course, because there's so much stuff in it. But I sort of have it laid out where you have to walk through the power armor station to get from one side of the house to the other. That sounds silly because it's only two blocks wide.
Like a doorway. It does work.
That does work. You sort of step through an archway, almost like a room divider. But the rad arch now, I had to rewire stuff. You showed me this really cool way of rewiring stuff, and I want you to share that. I don't know if you probably have mentioned it in the past, but that's also a really fun rewiring system that we mentioned. And Pat used to hate having to get water. I want you to mention the water pump exploit that you showed me the other day. I don't know if you've ever mentioned that on the show. Maybe you have.
Yeah, no, I don't know if I have.
I love that, the wire and the water. Remember to mention those two things. But I've got everything crammed in there, Jess. You've got the rad arch that sort of like is displayed right in front of the huge power generator. But I hung right on the power generator itself an on-off switch. So you like step into the arch, and there's the on-off switch right there on your nose that you can click on and off and turn the shower on and off. Now it's like you're actually stepping into, your normal shower with the on-off switch, where you could just lift your hand like normal now. So it's not constantly on. My wife, anytime I stepped in my house, she was like, "What the fuck is that sound? What is that? Turn that off. Turn the TV down. What is that sound?" I'm like, "It's my rad arch, dear."
Yeah, you got the generator going. You got the rad arch going.
It's just like, and the rad arch is horrible. It's just like a constant like. And if you step in it inadvertently, it doesn't hurt you, but it gives you that, if you've tripped,
the ouch sound. Yeah,
it makes the ouch sound that you've tripped over something sound. Like, ugh. every time you hit it, it's really weird. Yeah. So what's your camp like now, Ray? Quick.
It's the same as it was before. 4x4 on top of a ladder. But I had to go up another floor to fit my still and fermenter in there.
So you are doing the alcohol stuff.
Oh, sure.
Nice. All right. Well, we'll check into the alcohol quests, Wild Wasteland, I guess, aka as Ray is calling it.
Yeah, wasted on Nuka Shine is the quest name, and then the tipsy taste test for the repeatable.
Yes, repeatable. We'll have to talk about that a little bit too, because I just did my first one today. Are those just a once a day type thing? We'll get into all that here in just a second. But we're going to visit Will here in the Wasteland and see what Will has to say. I always enjoy Will's perspective here on his stories and his feedback. We just scheduled Will will be returning onto the show as well with his best good Wasteland partner, Jen. I know that they love running around together, so I thought it'd be fun to invite those two on together. So here in a few weeks, we will be running through the Wasteland together with Will and Jen. Looking very forward to that show as well. So, Will, thank you for hopping on, and thank you for sending in feedback. Really nice feedback all season long.
Some people might say I spend an unhealthy amount of time at the White Springs Resort. I know Bubbles is just a robot and it's all programming, but her lighthearted banner makes me feel better in this bleak period in history and renews my energy to keep up the good fight. And White Springs was the one place I could go where I knew nothing was going to try to kill me. Just stay away from the clubhouse. Besides, who knows who you're going to run into there? This most recent time, I was standing near the entrance debating whether to go back to my camp and put on my tux or just slum it when I ran across an old friend from the vault. Dwight was donning some beautifully painted power armor and had clearly adapted to life outside the vault quite well. I had been wanting to follow up on Ella Ames' research on a rad shield that was supposed to be considerably more effective than Rad-X, but was reluctant to go back into the mire alone for what may just be a wild goose chase. But after catching up with Dwight for a while, we both agreed that it could be worth looking into. Rather than taking the longer yet safer highways, we opted to cut through the dense forests. Last time I do that, just past what I thought was a lovely swimming hole, we found ourselves fighting for our lives in the fiercest attack I'd been in yet. In the past, every time I've seen a single scorched beast, I'd run for cover. But this time, there was nowhere to run to while we battled not one, not two, but 3 scorched beasts. And if that wasn't enough, an Assaultron Dominator and a Major Gutsy joined in. And you might as well throw in a legendarily tough glowing gulper. Have I mentioned I hate the mire? Well, I used an automatic combat rifle for ranged attacks to this guy while getting up close and personal with my power fist for anything on the ground. Dwight mostly used a super sledge with impressive results. The good news was that I found a 2-shot minigun on one of the corpses. The better news was that we lived. So I had a new confidence. Not only did I know for sure now the Scorched Beast could be defeated, I had the perfect new weapon to do it with. Ella's research led us deep through the mire, collecting ingredients and eventually to Dire Chemical in hopes of flushing some chemicals into a stream to force a pod containing the final ingredients to bloom. Except there were angry robots around every corner of the factory. But the combination of my power fist and his super sledge was more than up to the task. I commented on how powerful his sledge was and that I'd like to find a bad boy like that for myself one day. He said it was called the All Rise and that it was given to him after being mayor of Watoga for a day. All Rise? Should be called All Fall because as far as I could tell, that's what things did when he hit it with them. They fell. I was going to have to go apply for this mayorship. I hope it doesn't conflict with my newly self-appointed position as governor of West Virginia, though. But even if I couldn't get an all fall, I had just found another new weapon I was super excited about. This one was a plasma Gatling gun. The chemicals flushed into the stream had successfully forced the stranguropods to bloom, so Dwight and I gathered as many as we could and crafted up some rad shield following Ella's notes at a chemistry bench there at Dire. Time would tell how effective it was, when and if the need to use it arises. Having completed our mission, Dwight and I said our goodbyes and headed towards our respective camps. Before getting completely out the mire, I ran across another person from the vault, little Miss Norman, except she wasn't so little anymore. Having been born in the vault, I had watched her grow up. "How are you today, Miss Norman?" I would ask her as a little girl, and my moniker for her just stuck. Now that she was all grown up and out the vault, I wasn't sure what to call her. I was also wondering what the hell she was doing out in the mire all by herself. Apparently, her camp had been destroyed by 2 scorch beasts, so she was looking for a new location to set up. I always knew she was a tough girl. Growing up with a name like Norman, you had to be. It was one of the reasons I was always extra nice to her as a child. I could relate. I had grown up with the name Hazel and ended up in countless fights because of it. We both had a boy named Sue complex. Except she stuck with Norman instead of going by Norma or something similar, while I tried to go by Hayes. I guess she was tougher than me, and damn, she was proving it. After having her first camp in the mire destroyed, she was just moving in deeper. She said she liked it there. It was pretty. Whatever. I'll stick with the forest region and its open farmlands where I don't have to sleep with one eye open. We spent the next several hours catching up on life after the vault. I told her about being tricked by Rose, how I found my calling as a responder's fire breather, declaring myself governor, and most recently my trip into the Brotherhood headquarters where I learned of their demise. And Norman shared her story since leaving the vault. She had apparently had a run-in with something called the Wise Mothman and become obsessed with it, so much so that she wanted to build a shrine for it at her next camp. But she, too, had been to Camp Venture and Fort Defiance and taken sympathy with the Brotherhood of Steel. She found their purpose to be more noble than I did and wanted to continue their work protecting Appalachia. She then suggested that we follow Paladin Taggarty's trail together to learn what had happened during that final operation. I thought it was a great idea that I was about to suggest myself. We agreed to meet up a few days later. She needed to set up a new camp, and I had cranberries to tend to. Plus, I wanted to see if I could make any improvements to my new plasma Gatling and miniguns before we embarked. When I met up with Norman again, she was with a person named Jesse. Jesse had business in Watoga. If he was smart, it was to go be mayor for a day and to get him one of those all falls, and accompanied us on the first part of our journey to follow the Brotherhood's emergency transponders. The first transponder had no real information, only saying the scorched source was further in the bog, but we synced up and headed towards the second, which appeared to be in Watoga. As we made our way in, we found the city had run amok under protection of hostile government robots. Wow, so you were mayor of Watoga and you left it like this? Come on, Dwight. Yeah, I definitely needed to be mayor for a day. I could get this city back on track. Well, at least he got them working. Most times I see city workers, they're just standing around doing nothing. These guys are taking their job seriously. Unfortunately, they thought that job was to kill us. But Jesse had a nifty war drum, Norman had a sweet Tesla rifle, and I fell in love with my plasma Gatling as we created new job openings from Watoga. By a downed Vertibot, I hope that wasn't the one I heard go down by my frightened shriek when I saw that Wendigo in Fort Defiance, we found the second transponder. They had been under heavy scorched attack and were falling back into the fields, or killing zone, as they called it. Maybe Jesse really did have business to attend to, I don't know, but it seemed like an awfully suspect time to say goodbye. In any case, it was off to this killing zone for Miss Norman and myself. It wasn't too bad, though, as we made our way across the cranberry fields, so I used a quiet time to tell Norman how I joined the Army. I had stumbled across this place called Camp McClintock, where some master sergeant started yelling at me to put on some fatigues and a helmet, so I did. Next thing I know, I had to complete 3 tests. First one was marksmanship, which I passed on my first attempt. It was the first and only time my laser rifle had actually come in useful. Glad I put that hair trigger on it. The second was an agility test, which I thought I had finished with a whole 30 seconds left, but I must have missed something and had to do it over. A little more careful this time, but got in just under the buzzer. Listening to the Mr. Gutsy on this course had me thinking I haven't watched a good sitcom in years. I think a Mr. Gutsy and an Assaultron could make a good Odd Couple reboot, or throw in Rose into a Three's Company. Anyways, the third was a patriotism test to figure out who the commie was. Jan June seemed like a solid kid, but didn't like the cold weather. Topher had ancestors on the Mayflower, so I doubted he was a commie. At first I thought Jimmy seemed okay until I discovered the American flag stashed behind a chair. Commie! And like that, I was in the Army. All because I got lost on a Sunday afternoon. We synced up with the third transponder and headed on. We could see many scary things flying in the distance, so we approached as slowly and cautiously as we could so as to go unnoticed. Unfortunately, the transponder was directing us right towards 3 Sierra Bravos, while 2 more closed in from behind. Yet, we made it to the bunker unseen. However, as we synced up to the next transponder, one caught sight of us and alerted the others. With 5 scorched beasts unleashing their fury upon us, there was only one thing to do: run, and run fast. We had seen a dig site up ahead and was hoping that was the location of the last transponder, as we had no other options. By the grace of Mothman, I slammed the door to the mine, Norman entering just behind me, seconds before my lungs would have exploded. And yes, this is where we were supposed to be. The mine was called the Glass Cavern. Some holotapes we listened to as we descended into it described how it was rich in something called ultracite, of which a tiny piece was powering all the generators in the mine and would one day power the world. We went further, on constant lookout for scorch, which seemed to be everywhere. My plasma Gatling was proving itself to be quite valuable as I turned them into piles of green goo. Brotherhood corpses were scattered about, but there was a disturbing number of scorched animal corpses, mirelurk queens, fog crawlers, you name it. Had Taggarty Sunder taken down all these? They had my respect. Still, we went deeper, collecting some of this ultracite as we went. After a close call with some mirelurk kings, Norman pretended to call for help, laid on the ground, and said she was dying. But I knew she was tougher than that, so I poured some whiskey on her and said, here, have some of this. You'll be okay. Thanks for nothing, she said. Would it hurt you to use a stim pack? We laughed and went still deeper until finally we found the end zone of Operation Touchdown. I knew it as soon as I saw it, and it scared me. I don't know what happened down here. One of the holotapes talked of sabotage, one talked of an accidental explosion, another talked of intentionally setting off a nuke down here. Had they disturbed something, or had this ultracite done something to the creatures that lived here before? Doesn't matter. This place had to be eradicated. New scorch beasts were populating the world every minute or two. Then, dozens of scorched began attacking from every direction while a scorched beast screamed its deadly screams at us from above in the giant cavern. My plasma Gatling had truly been a godsend, given to me just in time to complete this mission, as I painted the cavern with green goo while Norman threw grenade after grenade and let loose with her Tesla arcs. Despite all the chaos going on, I had an epiphany. A while back, I had discovered a modification to the syringer Rose had given me that made creatures more susceptible to injury. I chanced a shot at the scorched beast with it, then Norman and I laid into it with everything we had, only to have another, tougher scorched beast take its place. Another syringer shot, and back to the Gatling, straight into its face while Norman attacked from its rear, and we won the day. Finally, we walked over to Taggarty's body and listened to the last transmission, but we already knew what it said. This was the end zone. They had failed, but we could still succeed. The Brotherhood's motto is ad victoriam, to victory, but this was definitely a sad victoriam. Don't worry, guys. We'll make sure it meant something. There was a lift there, and Norman and I had a solemn ride back up to the surface, then a quiet walk back to Fort Defiance, where we were able to enter Taggarty's office after collecting her ID. On her terminal, she talked about a nuclear option. Despite Maxon's demands, that was out of the question. This idea had been brought up before by the overseer, and I had been adamantly against it at the time. But there was a queen somewhere producing these scorched beasts at an astonishing rate, and she had to be stopped. Little Miss Norman and I had some big thinking to do. Whatever we decided, it was definitely time to investigate these silos. So that's all for this week. At the end of Belly of the Beast, Hazel was level 41 and had all of his assignments except for the mutation of electrically charged, which is why I didn't have starch genes equipped when I got my characters confused and took a rat away, which meant poor Jen had to listen to me whine for the next 2 hours that I lost my marsupial. And not for you. See you in the wasteland.
Hello, Fallout friends. Jen here. I have my every 2 week, fortnightly update for Norman. I did complete Belly of the Beast this week, but I wrote this little piece before I completed that, and I think it's a bit of backstory that I would like to share. It'll make some of the other stuff seem less peculiar as we go forward. And I know that I might show up in somebody else's feedback this week. So maybe if his goes before mine, you can, I don't know, mentally switch them around. Okay, so here we go. Norma grew up without much knowledge of anything else but the blue and yellow of vault life. Her parents were scientists, and apart from her studies, she didn't have access to much, except some old copies of Grognak and the Unstoppables her mom had packed up with her. She became quite obsessed with comic book characters and fantastical stories, and upon leaving the vault, she was hungry for adventure, and the enormous beasts she was facing every day were mostly just scary, that is, until she met him. In her early days out of the vault, Norman found herself at Charleston train station. She was trading some of her pillaged loot When beyond the bushes, she spotted two red eyes staring at her. She grabbed her rifle and shot at the creature, thinking it was yet another unnamed giant thing out to kill her. But it didn't fight back. It didn't even move. She got closer and closer until she was standing face to face with it. It was an enormous moth, and it seemed to be staring at her. She dodged left, and it shuffled to face her. She dodged right, and it did the same thing. She crouched, she jumped, ran around it, and it adjusted its position so it was always staring right at her. Figuring it was safe, she reached out gingerly to touch it. It was soft and warm, and just as dark as her black cat Cinder that her parents had brought with them into the vault. She was filled with an overwhelming sense of calm and sat for a while with this moth creature. And for the first time since her parents left the vault, for the first time since she left the vault, she felt safe. She was thrilled by this new relationship and began planning how she would widen the doorways at her camp to accommodate her new friend, when just like that, the moth vanished in a puff of black smoke. Over her time out of the vault, Norman had moved her camp several times, and nothing felt quite right, until, that is, she settled in the mire. There she built a 2-story house with a workshop and a living space that felt like her room at home. Hoping for a little retreat from all the survival stuff she was working on, she built a separate room away from her house where she could play music and draw or construct something other than a new weapon. She began working with some of the materials she'd gathered, and suddenly, as if by magic, she constructed a large statue of Mothman. And once again, she felt that weird sense of calm. She knew this was a little crazy to be so obsessed with a giant insect, and worried people might think her mad for doing this, so she put the most complex lock she could rig onto the door. She didn't want anybody to see what was going on. Weeks passed, and Norman had become a little obsessed with the Brotherhood and all of their technological innovations. She was amassing an arsenal of weapons to make the trip to follow the trail of a person named Taggarty, when one day she heard a familiar voice from over the hill. It sounded an awful lot like that guy Hazel from the vault. Well, Hayes for short. He preferred that. But just then, 2 scorch beasts and their hordes of scorch-infected people came flooding in and tore the roof off of her little room, blew the walls off of the house, and decimated the crops that Norman had carefully planted, all in her little attempt to literally put down some roots. When the dust had settled, she was alone. Had she imagined Hayes' voice? Had she been exposed to radiation so long she was going crazy? She knew she needed a safer spot to camp, so she moved further north and stumbled across an odd scene. There was a beautiful pond with a vertebrate inside of it and 6 dead Brahmin carefully arranged in a circle. Was it a weird coincidence, aliens, or some sort of sign? Whatever it was the only usable water in the area. Norman decided to build her home here. She rebuilt her home building, bigger and better this time, her utility shed with some distillation equipment she'd been tinkering with, planted some new crops, and put a new large building up for her Mothman. This one was bigger, and she included more instruments and even more plush rugs on the floor and a refurbished, shiny statue of Mothman. If her job out here was to rebuild civilization, she was going to have to start with building a community first. And sharing the warmth, peace, and wisdom shown to her by Mothman was where she thought she'd start, even if everyone thought she was crazy. That's all I've got for now, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Last week was the Fosnut Madness, and I got a little Fosnutty. I got crazy with collecting all of those masks and server hopping like a woman possessed by a masked devil. So I did not write more about the Belly of the Beast quest. I also got crazy busy with work. But next session, I will have some more feedback for you guys, hopefully. And I will look forward to hearing your feedback this session and next. So thanks so much for listening, and I will look forward to seeing you in the wasteland.
Thank you from the minor internet celebrity, now Jen. She was one of the only ones. Jen got a rare Fashnacht mask. She got the sun mask. Really cool, and I like it. I think the eyes look like Fozzie Bear. My favorite Muppet is Fozzie Bear. I have a really soft spot for Fozzie Bear. Love him to death. Waka waka waka. And the sun mask, for some reason, reminds me a lot. I think it has to be the eyelids, maybe something. I don't know what it is, but I really like the sun mask, and she got it. There were there were like 3 like super confirmed, like there's some pictures floating around the internet, who knows, people, and then there's always like theorized, did you cheat, did you find the dev room, whatever, the developing, there's like secret spaces people can go to find these things, like what happened, where'd you go to get this, and of course she wants to be, we shouldn't out her, I guess we're not going to say her gamer tag, of course, but like uh, she anonymously submitted a video to someone who's putting a video together of proof of other people who did this, and like this person is collecting video clips of other people who got different rare masks, and it is seriously, I know that there's 5 of the rare mask. I think he's got maybe 3 clips. Like, why, in a world with all these people we know who are playing in this huge sort of like Fallout community world, connected all by Twitter, who can show pictures and run theories by each other on Reddit and stuff, like it's a very large community, why is the frequency 3 and like how many ever hundreds of thousands of people? That is crazy, and Jen is one of them. What the fuck? She won the video game chance lottery. You know what I mean? It is so rare to do that. It's crazy that we know in our community, we know she did it. She did it, you guys. She's a minor internet celebrity, even though she's remaining anonymous. I don't know how much of this I'm outing her with. Do I need to cut this out? Like, what is this bad? Am I outing her?
I don't think you've gone too far, but
Okay.
yeah, it is kind of funny seeing people mention this one person with proof and, knowing who it is.
And I think the other 2 people, it's sort of doubted that theirs is legitimate somehow.
And I mean, there might be others we just haven't heard about yet, although I think most people
true.
be shouting to the high heavens if they did. But hey, she had another great find at Foshnock that didn't come up too.
What is that? Tell me.
Well, she got insulted by InsultBot during Foshnock.
He actually did something? Oh my god.
Yeah, no, I mean, he showed up and she got the little insult paper. I mean, that's one of the great things. As they keep adding things to this game, you'll get more and more things that just kind of happen as worlds collide. The kind of events where InsultBot is now at a robot parade and is insulting people.
That's
and
hilarious.
it's just great. Yeah.
I want to see InsultBot go over to the witch Foshnock bot and start slinging insults at the Foshnock bot. Be like, your nose is so big, and then the other Foshnock bots be like, how big is it? And then the insult bot just like starts ripping into the witch bot. Come on, that would be hilarious. That'd be really fun. And or God, I would love to hear his actual insults. I haven't gone onto YouTube to look at him, but he definitely has not dished anything on me when I've run into him.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about him last week, so I don't need to get into it again, but he's got a couple of phases. He's got the on phase where he's following you, analyzing you, and then he supposedly delivers an insult and gives you a paper, which most are saying, you've been insulted by InsultBot.
Yeah, someone uploaded that.
And most people haven't seen that. And then if you approach him shortly after that, before he's reset, he says, I'm currently off duty.
Nice. Well, keep your insult bot stories coming in, everybody. Will, thank you also for your feedback. Jen, let's see what she mentioned here. She's communing with the Mothman. That was a really nice story. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, that was beautiful. And I think she's been hanging around the bots too much, because the way she said pillaged loot sounded just like one of the vendor projectrons.
Yeah.
Oh, and Sad Victorium for the win. Thank you, Will, for that one. That is going into my lexicon for the Brotherhood. Sad Victorium.
Absolutely. All right. Will mentioned the Rad Shield. I actually did that myself. Went through that little side quest. Went through the process and made some Rad Shield, and I don't know, probably promptly sold it or something. And he also mentioned a good reference. A boy named Sue. I really like that. And then it got me to thinking that is something we need to ask Steve, right? Next week when Steve is on for the character generator. I'm not exactly sure if this is correct, but it seems like for the vast majority of people out there, not only did we not dictate the name list by the sex or gender rolled, we left all names available. But it seems like it on purpose paired typically male names with all the female roles and vice versa. It seems like it on purpose matched almost everyone who rolled with an off gender name.
There were a lot of them, but added to people's stories, right? So that's sweet.
But is that weird? And do we want to do anything about that? And we're gonna do a 1 to 15, 2 to 14 guaranteed if we can figure out how to do that. That's one thing I definitely want to add in to the character generator. We were talking about that too, Jess.
Yep, definitely.
He mentioned marksmanship. He said he did his with the laser rifle or pistol, automatic something. I don't know. He said it's finally useful. Then I was thinking, did we mention or did someone say or did I imagine this? Can you take the grenade launcher and or a mini nuke and just blast like large areas and hit multiples at once and stuff? Can you kind of cheat that way? Or do like I remember Craig mentioned in the Nuka World stuff when he would get those tickets at that one event, it was just an explosive shotgun that would sort of like do an area of an effect blast and get the little targets that were hard to hit. Can you sort of do a similar thing with this marksmanship?
I haven't tried it, so I thought explosive damage wouldn't work. I mean, they turned off melee, so I would guess they turned off explosive too.
Okay, yeah, that would make sense. You're right.
Be interesting to check to drop a mini nuke there or something.
Yeah, that'd be amazing to try. Some toss out grenades or
orbital strike beacon.
Oh, fuck yeah, Craig. Yeah, put your artillery there, drop a smoke, drop a smoke again, and artillery, drop an orbital, what are they called? Orbital grenades? Yeah. Do all that, man. I bet you they've turned that off, but that's a fun experiment to do at least. Craig, before we get into quickly, we're going to go into some alcohol stuff. Is there anything character-wise feedback you would like to tell us about going through Belly of the Beast or back to basic? You mentioned your high agility characters not falling off the beams and stuff like that. Did you have an easy time hopping across stuff? You may have done this a little bit ago, right?
Yeah, I did it a while ago, but yeah, I didn't have too much trouble doing it. I assumed that it was because of my high agility, but I am not sure now.
And I don't know. Do you have any idea about what level your character was when you went through that? You're close to 100, if not over 100 already now.
No, I'm not. I'm 98, I think now.
Yeah.
I think I was probably in my 50s when I did it.
And that's kind of like a milestone. That's kind of what sort of stats or level wise they consider the end game or the cap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even though it's not like a level cap, but you know what I mean, weapons wise and all that. So if you have any more character feedback or anything you want to get into, that'd be cool. But why don't you tell us a little bit about Alcohol Quest 2 if you want?
All right. As far as character feedback, I mean, most of my stuff was fairly close to the way everybody else did it. So I don't have any specific things that I can think of off the top of my head.
That's quite all right.
But as far as the alcohol, I'm having a pretty good time doing that. It made me take the Party Boy perk.
Oh, great. I'm glad you mentioned that.
So I've got that. I've got that to 3 now.
Oh, nice.
So it triples the effectiveness of all alcohol. So
Yeah.
right now, if I take a whiskey, it gives me +6 to my strength.
That's awesome.
And I think does like 50% water or something.
That's incredible. Yeah, I have mine to that level too and played around with it just a little bit. And when it was one of the dailies was craft 25 of some liquor at your camp, I believe.
Mm.
So that was one of my projects I worked on this afternoon, was crafting some liquor, and I decided, I was like, what should I do? Here's some beer, I could do that, or blah, blah, blah. And then I was looking at the notes. I decided, oh, why don't I look up and just see what alcohol specifically affects which special item. So I was like, oh, here does that, oh, +1 strength and +1 perception on this one. On that must have been bourbon, and then I know, oh, whiskey +2 perception. That's nice. So I built a bunch of those and got the 25 alcohol achievement challenge for today or this week or whichever it was. And then I noticed, oh, there's a cool party boy card. Oh, I have a level in that. That's nice. And then I immediately leveled up, and it was on my mind. So I was like, oh, I don't want to put another point in that. And I leveled up later in the day, and so I've got that one maxed out too. And so you add the 2 strength, like you mentioned. You triple that, add 6 to my strength, which is already at a base 11, plus whatever crazy mutations and whatever food I've eaten. I don't know. I don't remember if it's mole rat meat or if it might be mole rat meat, but
Mole rat meat sounds right.
Yeah, gives you the plus strength. And my strength is just over 20 now, 20 something or whatever with the +6 from the alcohol from the whiskey now with that card. Oh, I love that card, Craig. It's an awesome now. What are my addictions? What's going to happen here though? Am I going to have to start carrying a lot of a Dictol or something? I'm going to start getting addicted to this whiskey, aren't I?
Well, I mean, I just carry a bunch of alcohol with me. I mean, there was one day where you had to craft 50, and then there was the 25. So I have a bunch of my inventories taken up with just alcohol.
And the alcohol is literally a preservative of itself, so it doesn't like go bad like everything else in the game and deteriorate like the wine into vinegar or something bad, right?
No, it loses its condition.
Oh, it does?
Mm-hmm.
It rots? Oh,
no, it loses the condition bar once it turns into alcohol.
Oh, so after you've fermented it, it is in its permanent state.
Yeah, if you have the fermentable alcohols, it has a condition bar, but when that goes all the way down, it just turns into the normal version of the alcohol.
So the condition bar is the process going on.
It's the fermentation, basically.
Okay, I just built that in my house the other day, and literally today was the first time I spent any time doing it. Common components of these alcohols, what are the useful ones, the base ones? I think I only have like 4 spirits I can do. I don't know how many beers or wines I can do, but the things I could do commonly, I think, were, let's see, whiskey, bourbon, beer, and wine, I think, right?
Yeah. Those are the 4 main ones, I believe.
And do you get recipes for new ones? How do we go about this?
Yeah, when you do the daily quests with Biv, he'll give you recipes.
Biv is our robot friend from Trudy or whatever her name is over at the Greek house. No, not the Greek house. He's in the tattoo parlor, right?
Yeah, he's in the tattoo parlor.
And tell me about him a little bit. You return to him for a daily quest, which is it every day you get a new...
Yeah, every day he'll give you either a wasted on or a tipsy taste test.
Yeah.
Okay, tipsy taste test. I got that one, and I had to go test a special category charisma under the influence of
bourbon.
Fresh. It said specifically fresh bourbon, and I kind of got tripped up on that. And I was asking people in the group, fresh. What is this?
I don't think fresh actually means anything. I think they expect you to make it, but usually I have it on hand.
Okay,
so I just take it.
They called it fresh because they wanted you to go through the process of going to the bench and actually crafting this.
Yeah.
Okay. But you can use just normal everyday found in-game bourbon that you found over at the elementary school or whatever, right?
Yeah, I've been able to do that.
Very nice.
And it's been fine.
Okay. So what I was supposed to do is it said what the instructions are, vague of course. It said test out effects of charisma while intoxicated. Something super vague like that. the process they want you to, what they specifically want you to do is go sell something, like drink a alcohol and then go sell something at a vendor. That's the process they want you to go to. But the instruction is sort of vague. Now I've only done one. What is the frequency I can get these? And you mentioned some other one. Tell me about the other quest and how often can I do these? Like, and also there was some sort of issue with spamming his button, him being a little bugged or something.
Yeah, sometimes he won't give it to you right away, so you have to keep spamming him, and he'll just keep saying his funny little sayings, which I can't think of anything that he says, but eventually he'll give them to you. The other quest is one where he gives you a recipe and he wants you to make it and then give it to him. So you have to make it and then ferment it and then give it to him.
Oh, okay. Now, my first exposure to the alcohol side of the game, I just noticed the 4 basic things that were introduced, and then I was thinking, I'm not a huge drinker, but the one sort of hard alcohol that I do like every once in a while, very occasionally, is I'll drink a tequila, and I was thinking, is there tequila in the game? I don't remember. There
Yeah,
probably
there is.
Fallout 4. I don't remember specifically if there is or not, because I don't do a lot of chems or drink a lot of alcohol in the game. But then 20 seconds after having that thought, bam, in my end, like, I don't know if it was a plan or something about the quest or something that was like a tick blood tequila all of a sudden was in my inventory. It's like, oh, there it is. Speak of the devil and he shall appear. Hello, tequila. I don't know if that's going to be a plan or something I have to make or something I can already make, but I'm excited to get into the tequila. That sounds
you eventually get it. I've got the tick blood tequila recipe, and then I've got tick blood tequila sunrise.
Oh, now you're talking my language.
Which you make it with mutt fruit juice.
Yes, sounds sweet and nice. I'm not a big drinker, but that's that kind of sweet sort of tequila.
Yeah, and the trick on the tick blood tequila is you got to have violet flux.
Oh no!
Wow.
That's crimson. It's crimson flux.
Is it crimson?
Yeah, I've got the pulled up, looking at the alcohols.
Why are they incorporating flux into this? That is ridiculous. That is. Oh man, Craig and I are starting our startup business in the game. The future farming flux farm future factory here. So come check us out. But why on earth would they make that a component of a beverage? Good Lord.
Yeah, and mine's stuck on. I have to do. It's the the hop one. The IPA.
Yep.
You have to do a sneak attack while under the influence, but it's bugged out because, for whatever reason, I've done it with guns, with knives, with vats, without vats, and it won't progress.
And IPA as in like India Pale Ale, correct?
Yeah.
So you're crafting different styles of beer as well?
Oh yeah.
And did you try it with an in-game found beer versus a beer that you crafted yourself to see if that had any effect on the whether you got...
I've never found this particular one in the game.
Oh, good. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Yeah, if it's that hoppy one, I don't think it is in game until this.
Yeah, until Biv gives it to you, maybe. Otherwise, you got to craft it.
Interesting.
I wonder if you need a sneak critical. I don't know. I haven't had that one yet myself. I wonder if it needs a critical sneak or something.
Yeah, I don't know. It just says that it needs to be a critical hit.
Yeah, I don't recall it needing to be. I don't know. I'm not sure. I've gotten that one a couple times.
So there's two basically. They're not daily quests. Are they radiant? What sort of style of quest that Biv gives you? There's those two that you can do. One of them is go and see the effect of an alcohol on a specific event, and the other one is go craft a specific alcohol. Correct? He gives you the recipe, and you have to go get the ingredients and craft it yourself.
Yeah.
And then give it to Biv.
And give it back to Biv. Okay.
Yeah.
Fun. I need to play more with it. I just started dipping my toe in today, so I will get drunk a little bit more often here. Look out, world, for a sloppy drunk Miss Marie running around. Mr. Marie.
It's a
Apologies.
scary thought.
Scary thought. Yeah, it's sort of sloppy. I'm gonna be like a little bit. Is sloppy evil one of the 9 squares, Craig?
That should be.
Chaotic is usually sloppy.
Chaotic. There you go. Yeah, we'll be chaotic evil. That sounds great. All right. Well, I think that's all of our feedback we had. Thank you, everyone, so much for submitting feedback. Again, this project can't go on without the quality submissions from everyone in the community. And I especially love the intertwining of feedback like Jen and Will have been doing. And that's one of the reasons we are having them on the show together, is because they've met up a lot in the game. And they're doing the sort of what I envisioned being perfect for the roundtable, meeting up with roundtable characters and intertwining their stories together. That's very nice. Love to hear stuff like that. Before we sign off for the evening, though, I did want to check in with Jess about double extractor campsites. But before we do that, we're going to check in with our favorite historian and information collector, Radioactive Rebecca. And believe her correspondence this week came from someone quite familiar with in this episode, Crater Craig. Hi, Craig.
Hey, so I heard about this little project reading terminals and whatnot. So I like a good snoop better than anybody. So I've been hanging out with these cats called the Atom Cats, and their user Zeke, he's got a terminal in his trailer. So I'm going to hack into it and see what's what. So here we go. Atom Cats rule. Welcome user Top Cat. Not Zeke. Set your peepers elsewhere. Unless you're looking for a knuckle sandwich, then go ahead. All right, and then there's 3 entries here. There's the Legend of Zeke, no looking. The Legend of Zeke, more ideas. And safe control. I'm not going to touch the safe control. I'm not trying to steal anything from old Zeke. He seems like a good guy. But anyway, here we go. Legend of Zeke. Rough ideas / notes. I was born in a tiny leather jacket. I grew up in Diamond City, left when I realized a diamond was really just a tilted square. Good line, keeping it. Tell that story about how I fixed up the old vertibird but crashed it into the ocean. That explains why I don't have it anymore, right? Need a few chapters on power armor. Why it's the cat's meow. Oh, and some tips on how to make it really sing. Don't reveal too much, though. They gotta need you for something. All right, and then I'm gonna click on the more ideas. All right, ran out of space or something. More ideas. Story about finding the garage. How I single-handedly slayed a huge pack of ferals to claim it. How I met and assembled the Atom Cats. How I rescued them from their bad news lives and showed them the way of cool. Also, how much I love this kooky crew. Don't get too sappy, though. And then a chapter in memoriam of Eamon Andy, the cat we lost too soon. Andy found all the rockin' tunes that we play in the garage on to this day. Use this line. He will live in our hearts and in our jukebox. Also, kind of wandering around, I found some some hollow tapes. They apparently have been having themselves some poetry nights. So I'm going to play those right now. All right.
All right, cats. I call this one Metal Heart. Metal legs, metal arms, metal heart. Tool of war, tool of peace, tool of art. I get into my suit and I strut through the wastes. No fear. Untouchable. Flames on my suit burning, rising, glowing. The flames are hot, but I am cool. I walk, I run, I ride. My hands are strong. I am a man. No, more than a man. Because, man, I have a metal heart. Thank you.
I wrote this one about this thing that happened to me the other day. I call it Hard Shell. On me. A walk on the beach. Doing my thing. And thing breaks the surface of the dark water. There are flaws under a dome of gnarly shell. I'm caught. Off guard. Beady little eyes look at me from deep in the shell. Beady little eyes, full of hunger, full of rage. I pull out my gun and shoot. But the bullets only pound off that crusty shell. Those beady eyes narrow as the shell devil grows angrier and angrier. He comes at me faster than before. A bullet finds its way through a crack in the dome. The demon screeches in pain. Those beady eyes close for the last time. I reap the spoils from the kill. And I think this thing and I, we are kind of the same. For I, too, soft meat under hard shell. Thank you.
I'm Rowdy, and I wrote this poem.
You're doing fine. What's it called?
It's called An Ode to My Hammer.
You got this, Rowdy.
An ode to my hammer, so heavy and nice. I'm sorry, I can't do this.
Oh, Rowdy, come back. Did someone turn off the recorder?
So I was wandering around above the cranberry bog. Jess and I had just had a bunch of conversations. We're searching and searching. Andrew pulled out an app. We're looking at locations. We found some. We have the mineral extractors and stuff. Andrew found yet another black titanium extractor spot that I had no idea even existed in the game down here at the near Lewisburg. North of the train station a little bit there. I found another black titanium spot to set up camp at. That's where I'm located right now. That's my new project. Sort of Craig and I are going to get some nuke zone action going on, and I'm doing black titanium stuff on the side there. But what the whole search was, and what I stumbled on today, I found two right next to each other. Jess, I was like, holy shit. We were like, oh my God, we're searching so hard. We're looking high and low. Where are the spots? There's two. Evidently, there's just one. Yes, singular. There is one location that Jess knows of that have two extraction spots, where you can set up mineral extractors, where you can extract ore in your camp that you build. There is one location where there are two close enough that you can both fit them into one circle that Jess knows of. And I don't know where it is. Would you like to inform us where that is quickly?
Sure, real quick. So double resources. Yeah, I knew it was a thing for a while now. There's one spot east of Vault 76, east of the Kanoa Tower Overlook. If you go out to the edge of a cliff looking over a gorge, there is steel and copper. You can get them in a square. People have known about that one for a little while. But I want to know if people can find other double resources. Let us know in the Facebook group or whatever. I think I found one where you can get junk and steel near
nice.
Yeah, near Wavy Willard's corporate housing. We're trying that. And then we found your black titanium because there's a lead right near it, but the lead was up on a cliff and outside the circle.
It's like 10 meters too far away. It's very close. I thought that would be able to fit them both in, but today, Jess, I am Mr. Hot Shit. I stumble up upon these two extractor points, not 15 feet away from each other. I found awesome. I'm like, who is Mr. Cool? I found really awesome spot. Perfect.
Where did you find a new one?
Yep, right above the cranberry bog. I found it.
Okay, you're gonna have to show me. That's beautiful.
No, not so fast. Andrew is not Mr. Cool, not Mr. Intelligent, not Mr. Smart Guy. He is indeed a fool and an idiot, because that is a workbench that I thought I was trying to build my camp around. I'm like, why can't I put my fucking camp down? There's one of the weekly challenges was claim one of these workshops over in that direction, and that's why I was over there. Even I'm an idiot that much.
Well, that's the funny thing. We were looking at the resource map to try to find these places, and
yeah,
all the workshops are listed on the resource maps really close together. They look so tempting, and then you realize, wait, it's a workshop. So
that's the work.
Another workshop. Maybe you'll get to 20 someday.
So I'm not cool. I was like strutting around my basement with my chest all puffed out, and I was like, I'm gonna write Jess a message right now. How cool is this? Da, 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 da. Why can't I put my camp down? Damn it. And then I was like, oh God, I am a big foolish idiot.
That's okay. It's a challenge for the rest of you. Don't be
okay. Yep, that's
try to find us some.
I can't really they're too influential. It's such a good show, that Fallout show, and the Fallout Off the Record gang. They do such a good show, and I hate to do anything similar to them, but they do a listener challenge, and it's such a good idea. It's so great. Our listener challenge we're going to steal their idea. Our listener challenge for this week is find a camp spot with two extraction points.
Or just tell us in the Facebook group like usual, so we're not, taking any challenges. Although we'll probably talk about them on the show, because how cool is that?
Yeah, exactly. We can't steal their idea, but that is our challenge for the group. We're not going to do like a hashtag and stuff like they do, but tell us about it in the Facebook group. Be really fun.
Okay, I have a couple. Before we wrap up, I have a couple notes on the show today that I wanted to get to if you want to real quick.
Yes, please.
Okay, first of all, about the alcohol we were just talking about, the tipsy taste test. Just so you guys are prepared and don't drink your hard-made alcohol and then not know what you need to do or not be near the goal. We were talking about it today in Xbox chat, and Frank helped me figure out the ones I hadn't done. So tipsy taste test strength, you need to do a melee attack. Tipsy taste test perception, ranged attack. Endurance, that's going to be eat spoiled food. So remember that right now.
Okay.
Keep that spoiled food in your inventory. Charisma, you just have to buy something. Easy enough. Intelligence, you have to craft something while under the influence. So that's a good one. Agility, sneak attack, unless it's bugged. And luck, you need to get a critical hit. So that's the difference between the sneak attack and the critical hit. Luck is critical hit.
Oh, interesting. So, okay, now I understand it even more, that there is one for each special category.
It's a special quest.
I had one for charisma, and it doesn't necessarily go in special order. Okay, makes a lot of sense now.
And if you get a bug like what Ray is talking about, it has been confirmed that you can fix that by server hopping most of the time. There are a couple ways it'll happen. Sometimes when you server hop and come back in, it'll come back as a different test. So you might have been trying to get your charisma by something, or your agility sneak attack. When you log in another server, now it's endurance or it's perception. So it could be that the game wasn't lining up what it was telling you to do with what it wanted you to do. And then sometimes it can't be fixed, but that's just another tip. We were talking camps. Okay, so you mentioned a couple glitches that you wanted me to talk about.
Absolutely.
Okay, so some of these are known. this one is similar in Fallout 4. We're talking about electricity. In the game now, you can use conduit, snap conduit to walls to get it from inside to outside. So if you want to protect those generators, keep them inside the building, how do you get through? You can use conduit. But the other way is the classic rug mat glitch, or poster glitch if you want to do it that way. So you have to put down a mat. The best one is usually the gray rectangular mat. And then you put a power connector on top of it. The wooden ones, what I usually use, you can use a smaller connector, but it's harder to do. Once that's on there, you attach a wire from the generator to this in a place where it's able to do that. Then you click on and select the rug, just like the rug glitch in Fallout 4. Anything on the rug will move as though it's the rug. It now uses the rug hitbox. So you take that and you move it just an inch or two so the wire doesn't get interrupted. So now, you have a wire on a connector on a rug. Once you've moved it once in a good area, it forgets that the wire needs to stay connected. So you can then take that rug and put it wherever you want. So if you want to move it to the outside of your building, boom. Now you set the rug down in the space, you have power outside the building. You can do that through concrete, through walls, through a couple floors. The only thing to remember is the wire will still show, even though it doesn't have any collision detection. So you want to put it somewhere where the wire doesn't get in your face while you're walking around. So
very, very cool. She was over at my camp and I was just having a fit because even though she says you can put a conduit on the inside and one on the outside and put a wire to one, and I thought that should pass through the wall. That's how it's supposed to work. I can never get that to function correctly in Fallout 76. I feel like in Fallout 4, I could just run a conduit to one wall and put approximately another one on the exact same spot on the other side, on the outside of the building, and power would pass from one to the other. I don't feel like I can make that work in Fallout 76 like I could in Fallout 4. What am I doing wrong there?
I don't think you're doing anything wrong. It's just, as you know, snapping is a little bit more finicky in Fallout 76, as far as I know.
That's interesting. I think it's way better in 76 than it was in 4. Maybe it's only better in certain ways. I feel like in certain ways it's a lot easier to put stuff together.
It seems to, obviously the menu for building is better, at least, once you get used to it. And snapping when things follow the rules, but the rules are a lot more picky, if you know what I mean.
That does kind of make sense. Like everything has to be grounded and you can never remove the thing that makes something where it would be floating, if that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't like you to do stuff like that in this game.
So the other one that I feel like a lot of people don't know, but it's super useful. A lot of times people want to build near water because they can get their boiled water easily that way. Yeah, most recipes require boiled water, not purified water. Kind of silly, but there it is. So you know how you can stand near a pond or a water source and quickly spam X to get a bunch of water in your inventory, a bunch of dirty water. Well, if you use a water pump, not the powered pumps, but just the regular metal pump, you collect water, you have to wait for it, and then once it's done, you can then collect another. It takes forever. Well, you can glitch that with the animation. So if you go to drink from the water, not collect, but drink, as soon as you see the animation start of the water coming down, quickly spam X as though you're at a pond. And you keep hitting X, and you do that until you then see the next animation of the water again. And in that time, you usually get 6 to 12 dirty waters. So you do a couple rounds of that, and so you only have to go through it 2 or 3 times instead of a whole bunch to get 30 or 40 waters.
See, I had no idea that in the first place, when you go down to a stream, to a water source, that you could spam X. I would do the thing where you go, you hit X, he bends down, he collects water.
You hear the splash.
You hear the splash one time because you have collected one bottle, one unit, one something of water. I don't know what you're collecting it in exactly. But you got it one time, and that whole loop takes a good 6 to 8 seconds in my guesstimation. I would do that one time, then stop, then bend down, pick one more, and that. So it blew my fucking mind. And Pat and I would have these conversations, and I would be like, "Hey Pat, where's your water pump?" And he's like, "I don't even fucking bother with water pumps anymore. They're so slow. I just go down to the river and drink water and collect it by hand because the water pumps are so slow that it's impossible to get water. So you just go down there and collect it because it's faster to run all the way down the hill and collect the water by hand and run all the way back fucking up the hill again with a new 50 pounds of water in your inventory. You're running uphill and still it's somehow faster than using the stupid water pump." People who think like me, people who think like Pat, this is something that you really need to do. Now, should we explain it in form of Xbox? In Xbox, it's use the A button to drink, and then spam the X button for collect. Now, on any other ones, PS4 people, it's probably, I don't know, X and square. I don't know what your shapes
It's
are.
probably your 20 button mouse and some special.
Yeah, you use your fucking 20 button mouse, and I don't know.
It's E and R.
Yeah. So go to the ER because you all got busted by the couchers. Boom.
So many rads. But yeah, so drink, wait for the water animation, spam the collect button, animation again, stop, then repeat.
It's
and
great.
Water.
I've kind of played around with it. I've gotten as many as I think 18 dirty waters in one go. If you spam the fuck out of it, you can get a lot of water. And I don't know if it was affected by super duper. I doubt it since you're not crafting anything, but I think it was like, holy cow, I got a lot there. Why did I get so many? Like usually it was like Jess mentioned in the 6 to 8 region, but once I did get like 16 or 18, I think. I was really surprised. But you can get it's a lot faster, and that's a great exploit, and I'm so happy she showed me that. It's going to make collecting water a whole lot less time consuming.
So those are my only two for tonight. I don't know if anyone else has any cool glitches they wanted to share.
I don't know.
And I tried this. I tried the server hopping on the the taste test. I got this thing while Foshnock was still going.
Yeah.
And every time I hopped for Foshnock, it kept the same one. And then yesterday and today, I was mutation farming, and so I was doing a lot of server hopping for that too, and it still comes up with the same tipsy taste test every time, because I had read that too and thought, okay, this thing should clear, but
yeah,
it's tormenting me.
Oh, that's too bad. It's so much for Reddit help on that one.
And the glitch I wanted to work on was getting the Watoga High School monster mask from the Trick or Treat Halloween candy event.
Yeah.
That can be clipped out of the building if you do it in a specific way. But then when I got on Reddit, I tried to read in further, and I believe I cannot get 100% confirmation, but I believe they have patched the clipping glitch so to get it out. So that was my big thing. I saw, I did so many parades over the last week. That I met a lot of different people and teamed up with randos and stuff like that. But there were, I think, 3 different people, 3 different players, not the same gamer tags or anything, that I saw with that mask. So at one point, I think there was someone duping it a lot. Someone had figured out how to get it out, and then they duped it a bunch. But then that got all. I think when the duping glitch got fixed, I think they figured out how to stop that glitch as well. So I don't even know if you can get it out or not anymore. But I tried. I don't know. Is the event supposed to spark when you step into the high school? I just don't know. I need to maybe do a little bit more research and then actually figure out how the event actually works, because someone was talking about how you have to get it out during certain steps of the event. Like you have to do it in between the first one and before the second one starts, but not before you gets to this step in it, but right before that happens. So I think I might need to become familiar with the event itself. Like Craig was saying, he practiced going through the agility events. He did like a practice run. I might need to go through the event to learn where I need to do it before I'm actually attempting to do this glitching, if that makes any sense. But that was my next project. Jess and I were talking about projects I need to work on, but that was going to be something I was going to try to get, was that Watoga monster mask. But I'm kind of doubting it's possible anymore, unless I want to buy it. Go to the black market, that Xbox black market people are always talking about. I don't do that. Craig, you ever go into the Reddit market?
I go in it, but I've never bought anything from it.
Yeah. See, I think those people have way more caps than me too. I don't even think I can get into the ballpark of getting like actually valuable rare items from anyone. They're probably all like, "Oh yeah, you got 14,000 caps?" Like, no, I don't.
Yeah, so I did see a video on a pretty cool way to farm mutations if anybody is trying to get mutations.
Oh yeah.
If you go to the Emmett Mountain disposal site, when you enter into
General
the main mine area,
general location. Emmett Mountain.
it's just east of White Spring in the Savage Divide.
Okay.
And it's a building that's full of radiation barrels, and there's a decontamination section for the workers. It's an area where they were storing hazardous waste, and so you can go in, and there's a series of rad arches that you can activate, and then just a few steps away is a pallet full of radiation barrels. So you go out, you take off your starch jeans, go out, get irradiated, and then go back in to where the rad arches are, put starch jeans back on, take a bath, and take your rads away.
Yeah, that's nice. That's a good loop. That's much more efficient than mine because my rad arch would be all the way back at home. So sometimes I would either have to use my rad away or fast travel back home, or run across the Toxic Divide Valley there real quick, which wasn't a huge run, but my toxic pool would be up near the Hemlock Hills mini golf course, and my rad arch would be back at my camp. So I'd kind of run back and forth and do that same process. But that is nice if everything is there real close together, where you could just toss on and off your starch jeans and not have to worry about wasting all your rad away. That's
nice. And then once you've got a mutation, you server hop and go back in and do it again.
Yes, sir. Now iReady could only acquire, no matter if server hopping or not, you can only acquire one mutation a day. Does that still hold true, or is that different?
Negative.
Not true anymore?
I was able to get I had 3 mutations already, doing it the hard way with Radaway and Hemlock Hulls.
Nice.
I was able to get all the remaining ones except for Herbivore, because I had Carnivore already, in just a couple of hours. Of just
wow. Nice, good deal.
Sometimes it takes 2 or 3 minutes to going back and forth to get it to actually give you a mutation.
Yeah, that's fine.
So it feels like you're not going to get one, but eventually you will. And
I need to get rid of empath. I want to try to do this more efficiently.
And so the other thing is that if you go through the rad shower with starch jeans off, it'll take off 2 at a time.
Oh, interesting. But you can always get one back fairly quickly by going back and irradiating yourself, correct?
Yep.
Eventually. Nice. So this is a more efficient way for me to do it. I'll probably do that because I've kind of stopped trying to get rid of empath. Remember a couple episodes a few weeks ago, a month ago, whatever, I was trying to doing that cycle where every day I'd go to the pool, spend a little time getting irradiated, getting rid of mutation stuff, and it would cycle through basically the whole damn list, and it would never ever let me get rid of empath. I hate it so much. But hey, of you guys who are on my team, you're benefiting, right? So I guess some good comes from it.
And if you get on a fresh server, there's a set of power armor. It varies. I've seen T45 and T51 in there, and also if you get a fresh one, there's also a fusion core and a generator in the back of a little caged area that you have to clear an enemy out of. And it's typically been either scorched ghouls or mole miners.
Nice. Glowing ones, anything? Are we getting any
no, nothing that good.
Legendary 3-star legendaries or anything?
No, I think the highest I've gotten was some level 40 mole miners.
Well, that's certainly not a 3-star legendary.
No legendaries in here at all.
I'd like to thank everyone who hung out in the YouTube chat tonight. Had some lively conversations going on. That's always fun. Here, checking in at the end of the show, we kept going on and on and on, just trying to wait for our best friend Frater to hop on. Frater finally hopped on, so of course now we have to end the show with a very lightning speed round since we have Craig on the show. regional food. Craig, as a Hoosier, we both live in the same state. What have I missed? What are our typical Hoosier regional cuisines that maybe I haven't mentioned? It's always fun to hear two people from the same state compare things, and actually that they're two things that are typically from their state they each do, but then maybe they do it in a completely different way, like the elbow macaroni and chili debate.
I don't know if I really fit as a Hoosier as far as food is concerned. At least every time I see articles about it, I always read these articles and they say stuff, and I'm like, I have absolutely no idea what that even is. So I don't know.
There's also the thing there. You're from the big city. You know, I come from like small town, rural Indiana, where people do weird stuff. You're also from like a metropolitan location. I think that might have some effect on it too, right?
Yeah, probably.
Just off the top of my head, Indiana giant tenderloin sandwich is the sort of like one big thing that I think is sort of special to Hoosier cuisine.
Yeah.
One thing that doesn't exist anymore that I don't really know if there's other varieties of it. I remember from when I was a kid. Do you remember something called chocola?
Yeah.
Does that exist anymore? I haven't seen it in ages. If it does, that was something specific to Indiana. I thought it was just like a cola, kind of like Coke, but it's a different, company. But
wait, is it a cola? I thought it was just like Yoo-Hoo.
It was chocolate flavored. Was it Yoo-Hoo? I thought it was like a cola that was chocolate flavored.
I don't remember it being a cola. I know I've had it, but
have you had it? Okay, because it's been, I'm almost 40 years old, and it's probably been 37 years since I've, it's been a long.
I haven't seen it in a while.
Yeah, I doubt it's made anymore, but that was also something weird I always thought about when we talked about weird specific things, regionalisms here. Anyway, Frater, there you go. We checked in a little bit with the regional food podcast. We had to for our good buddy Frater. Held on the show for you. Thanks for hopping in tonight, Frater. We love you, baby. On that note, Ray, thank you for hopping on the show tonight.
Always a pleasure.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Craig, a pleasure to hear about your character and stories. Please keep sending them in.
All right.
And Jess, wonderful to have you. Thank you for stepping in the last couple of weeks and helping us out with the hosting duties.
Thanks. Great to be here.
Thanks a lot, everybody, for listening to this edition of the Fallout Feed Roundtable, and we'll see you in the wasteland.
Thank you for downloading this episode of the Fallout Feed Roundtable. If you are interested in doing a play-along character with us, the show can be contacted by emailing falloutroundtable@gmail.com. For the roundtable schedule, our Amazon link, and all other show information, please head on over to asapodcasting.com, where you will find the Fallout Feed, a Skyrimatic podcast, our YouTube channel, the Chatterbox, as well as other content. Once again, thank you for downloading, and we'll see you in the wasteland.
Our family has expanded by one new member in the Myers household. We thought our son has finally gotten old enough to get a little more responsibility. He's become a little bit more delicate with his touch. He's not actively trying to punch and choke things quite as often. He still does that, of course. But so we decided to bring a new animal into the house, and we got him a kitty. We didn't want to do like a little tiny 6 to 8 week old kitten, so we got him an almost year old, probably 9 month old. It's still got a lot of kitten in it, but a larger size cat, and we love this cat very much. Our family was very dependent upon our 2 kitties that we had a lot of love for them, and they both died like really soon after Mo was born. So we've been missing these kitties for like good 3-4 years, but we didn't want to sort of get a replacement and then have Mo hurt a kitten or something like that. So we waited a little while, and also, you got to wait for your heart to heal and be ready to get a new replacement animal or whatever. So I've never owned cats until I met my wife, and then because I've never been a cat person, but now I consider myself, I really like having a kitty in the house. The other 2 kitties used to follow my wife around like their shadows. Like every animal in our house, our dog and our 2 cats, the wife was the animal person. They always latched onto her. It was her. All the animals just loved the wife. They could not care less if I existed or not. This new kitty that we brought into the house is latched onto me and doesn't care about anyone else in the house, and it feels great. I've never had an animal latch onto me and not care about anyone else. Oh, this kitty follows me around. It's the best. I love having this new kitty in the house. He's very cute. He lays on his back with his little paws over his chest all the time, and he's all black. He's like perfectly jet black, and he lays on his back all the time with his paws and his chest. So we call him Otter. He's our new little otter guy in our house. And I love having the kitty and everything. And here's my first bitching of him. I love this kitty to death. Here's my first bitching moment. I've got my headset that I play Fallout 76 with. My microphone has a little orange foam ball on the end that's like the windbreak or whatever. So you don't hear you don't hear me popping my peas and all that. The cat loves the little foam orange ball on the end. I can't fucking find it ever. He keeps taking it off my microphone no matter if I put it on the top of the TV, I hide it underneath in the desk, I hide it under the drawer. He finds the foam ball and takes it off every time. When I do find it, if I do find it, sorry everyone, apologies out there if you're playing with me and you hear extra windy from me. And I know like my breathing's loud at first and on the podcast anyway. So apologies about not having a windscreen on my mic when we play. But my cat keeps stealing the orange ball and I can never find it. And if I do find it, it's like gross and wet with cat spit. So I don't want to put it back on anyway. Oh, it's the worst. But it's still the best because, you got to love him, right? Hilarious. All right. Have a good evening, everybody.